telescopic observations. Confirming it to some degree, not like 100%, but at a degree where it's more than 0% now. It's like up in the 1% and 2% chances that he was right, or more than that, actually, maybe.
We got a question for you from Delta KB. They're asking, you mean solar system plasma currents, like
No, Birkeland
regarding those
currents.
giant lightning bolts?
Birkeland,
Birkeland currents.
Birkland. Birkeland currents. They are supposed to be the size of bigger than the universe.
Wow. Yeah, that's it.
And,
It's crazy to imagine. It's like something straight out of a Marvel film.
and it's a lightning. Yes, it's straight out of Marvel. It's a lightning bolt. And some of the images are coming out like a lightning bolt. You can even see some images of Birkeland currents, I think.
Let me look that up real quick because I'm curious to see Birkeland current.
Like smaller ones, inside of our universe, but they're all sizes, these lightning bolts, and they just seem to be spread out all over the place. And we're not anywhere near one, because if we were, we'd be fried to a cinder.
Right.
But
they're kind of like currents
like
that
a
run
bug
energy
that flew
through
too close to the breaker panel.
I see it right
thing.
here. I'm gonna pull this up. So it's like a current that flows energy through one part of the universe to the other.
Energy is going into a scale that you can't fathom. We can fathom the quantum. You cannot fathom the inverse of that quantum scale. I'm telling you, there is no end to the scale of which these energy formations appear. And yeah, for years we thought they were stars, because that's all we could think they were.
So that's it right there. I think
I'm building a small universe
Is that it?
scale. Okay, let me show you what I'm building really quick.
Yeah, graphic of
Like a
Birkeland
scaled
current.
down universe.
And
Well,
then
that's
the
a
double
graphic.
helix nebula.
That's I don't know what kind of graphic that is, though. Like if it's made out of data from a satellite, or if it's just generated.
I don't know.
From a computer for and an artist behind the computer.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, but they have actual images. It could be from the image, right? From the satellite. Those. What do you call those? The biggest satellite they got out there? It's called
The Hubble?
VL.
Or no, that's the telescope. No, my bad.
VLT or
I'm not
whatever.
sure.
Very large telescope. They have a VLT in somewhere in Mexico, I think. They're ground-based lenses that are like 300-foot diameter each. They have like huge lenses, man. You got to imagine that.
I was saying I'm building a small scale universe where black holes start and where they end in white holes, and with the possibility of the magnetic field that affects them. Let me show you what I started with and what the idea is.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If you want, here,
Okay,
let
so
me.
I got a box. I built it. I'm going to put on all four sides of it images of different galaxies, if you could see that. And I got these little tubes. I'm going to connect them from here, but when I'm done, you're going to look at it from here, and you're going to observe how, what connects from one end to the other. One end you're going to have a white hole, one end you're going to have a black hole, and it would have a helix rotation. And I think that is how energy is pulled from one side of the universe to the other side, because the density of space. It's like how you have 2 cups of water. If you put a straw between them, they will find an equilibrium. And I think this is what black holes and white holes are. They're a form of balancing out the universe. The density in them. So it's like sucks it from one end and spews it out on the other side, but using the electric magnetic field as the medium of that rotation.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. I did a small scale paper replica today, but here, I'll show you the small one, but I'm working on a bigger one. Okay, kids, be quiet. 1 second. I've got like 5 kids in the house. My friends and my kids and their friends. Okay, so this is what I have. I put little straws. I don't know if you see that. Could you see that? Like this is one
Yes.
end of the universe. Okay.
I think. Oh, turn it a little bit. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Okay. So this would be one end. This would be like a black hole. That would be like a white one. And matter would come. This would be like space time. This, you can see this better. It would be the space time, the distance between them. And this is the other end. Would be another galaxy. You see that? So I think matter goes from one end, gets spewed out to the other. Like, do you see this little white straw? Let's just say it sucks in matter and it throws it out on the other side. You know?
Yeah.
Since it has it rotates the matter, like, you know, because this might be, let's just say this is much denser than this space. So to find an equilibrium between them, that's what it does. You know, it continuously.
Yeah, the more dense section would have more potential, and it would provide its potential to the lesser potential. It would distribute some of its potential to the other side where there's less potential. But that process continues on and on and on, because there is no it's so hard to say. I mean, once you start moving one potential to another side, then the side that the potential moved from becomes the lesser potential.
Yeah, but then it inflates and it moves it to another one and another one, and
right. What I'm saying is, when you move a greater potential to a lesser potential side, the area that had the potential now lacks it.
Yeah, so therefore it would.
So you're creating a perpetual. You're creating a perpetual imbalance just by moving potential.
Yes, and
from one location to another. If all the potential would stop moving,
and that's how we measure like expansion, because we observe it, you know, on another side of the universe, like, oh, that we're, you know, it's expanding, but it's actually shifting the mass from one to another, and then, you know, the rate of expansion slows down.
Potential can't stop moving because it's never been in balance. Because as soon as the first potential was created, there was something that was there that was not potential, and that was in opposition to its existence of being potential. And all of a sudden, as soon as you create a potential, there's everything else has no potential. But you're assuming you're the first potential, right? And then there's no potential anywhere else now, right? You're the first. Right? Well, what's going to happen? You're going to have to deliver some of your potential out to somewhere else, to somewhere where there is none. And they're going to now sense the flow from your potential over to their location. That's going to establish flow. And then your potential is going to drop. Their potential is going to rise. And now the balance is now lost. And it has to find its balance again. And the only form of balance that I can perceive is a singular potential. But that doesn't exist, because as soon as you create a singular potential, there's obviously everything else around the singular potential that has got no potential. So that potential has somewhere to go and lose its potential, which is where the balance is lost, because there's only one potential that creates balance. A singular potential is where the balance is. There is no way to have balance when you have two potentials. Because even if they're identical, even if the two potentials are identical, you can't have balance, because there's
Mike.
There's going to be around those two potentials, just like around that singular potential, there was what? A bunch of nothingness with no potential. So those two potentials now are going to deliver their potentials to the nothingness and give the nothingness potential. And in the process of doing that, their potential does what? It drops. And now the imbalance is created perpetually like that. So as soon as you create balance, imbalance is created. So
sorry, I had to put some like heavy rock.
There was no chicken and egg. It was just the singular potential in the beginning. But that can't.
But what do we derive like from that?
Infinitely, it has to change. The
universe will constantly keep on expanding. You know,
you can't have a singular potential for too long. You can have it. I mean, that's, I guess, where the Big Bang Theory comes from.
Right.
That's why the Big Bang was so fast, because it can't last too long. It has to, if there's only one potential in the entire existence of existence, it can't last too long. It has to distribute its potential to the rest of existence that has no potential. It's just the nature of potential. It can't, if there is a space that needs potential and it's there, and it is there, it's called nothingness. It's hard to fathom, but nothingness requires potential, and it can take your
right.
You know,
And you're talking
like the black
probably,
hole, you know.
Yeah, like just counter space or whatever you would call it, right?
Yeah, it's nothingness, but it
yeah, nothing.
It's
but it's
attractor of potential. It's the
yeah,
it's
but
the,
it contains
it's the one thing
everything.
that has the
yeah.
least potential of all the things in space is the nothingness.
Huh. Well, let's go back to the video. I just wanted to let you, like explain some stuff and give you both an opportunity to speak your mind on this stuff.
Pressure. It's like pressure. It's like a water down the
right.
toilet. Or,
yeah. No. Fluid dynamics is always what I go back to as a good analogy. But I'm gonna continue
transferring
with
the pressure from above. I mean, we think from above to below for that water dynamic, but that's the way we think. But that's perspective. But the pressure moves from above to below from our perspective. But in space, it moves in all directions.
Let me hit that. There we go.
Preposterous, and point to the long history of government-funded research into mind reading as proof that their science has merit. In the last 4 decades, there have been persistent, often contradictory rumors and even eyewitness accounts of other alien visitors meeting secretly with military or government officials. But what about today? The Tester Corporation has recently come out with a model kit of Gray, the extraterrestrial life form, and a scale model of the so-called sport model, the UFO Bob Lazar says he studied at Area 51. This UFO kit has quickly become one of the most successful model kits in the history of the company. If the military is, in fact, conducting tests of extraterrestrial spacecraft at Area 51, then where are the alien creators of
Where do I get one of those kits, man? I want to build one of those.
Large bong.
these craft?
Yeah.
In his first TV appearance under the pseudonym Dennis, Bob Lazar was asked if there are living aliens.
Shout out to Walter Bosley
Really
channel.
nervous.
Pretty sure
He
he's
evaded the
got
question
one
by
of those
saying,
crap
quote,
kits.
I really want to steer away from that right now, unquote. In subsequent
Hey,
interviews,
we
however,
got the
he admitted
crypto
catching a glimpse of
alchemist
two
in the
scientists
house.
talking to a strange short figure with long arms.
What's
Bernie?
going on, Bernie?
Always lurking, omnipresent.
We got the Bert and Ernie, the little guys up there with some looks like monoatomic water.
Yes, and some other plasmids growing amongst it. The jar on the right, you can actually see the red state matter growing. And it's crazy because I've got a coil in that one that's completely bright red, like almost glowing red, as if it was hot, but it's completely cold, immersed in room temperature water, and just in this red state that the alchemists talk about, the red and the white. And that's what you see there, the red and the white states.
Wow. Yeah, and I that's a good reminder that Dr. Judy Wood likes to remind all of us that just because something is red, it doesn't necessarily mean it's hot.
And it goes more into like the red, it seems to be hydrogen, and then blue is oxygen. And then it's very fascinating with this red-blue shift, and now them finding supposedly dark oxygen, and then how hydrogen's really all these different isotopes that make up elements in between particles and non-particles. And it's very, very fascinating, the red-blue color shift aspect of things.
A lot of people talk about hydrogen as being the key, right? And even if you look at
absolutely,
what's his name?
It is
the Watchmen, right?
Yeah.
Who's the blue dude from the Watchmen? His symbol
Mac
on his forehead
is
is
blue.
hydrogen.
They're all blue. Why are
He's
these
nuclear man, isn't he?
metaphysical people and entities?
Or Adam.
always
Adam.
blue?
His name is Adam, I think. The Atom, ATOM. Is it Mr.
Yeah,
Adam?
I can't remember, but he's got a hydrogen atom symbol on his forehead.
Yeah, he's Mr. Adam. Or isn't that right? He's Mr. Adam, yeah.
I don't think it's Adam.
don't think so.
Why can't I think of this?
Something
Been
like
too long,
that.
I
His
gotta
name
rewatch it.
represents the atom.
Dr. Manhattan. That's his name.
There
He's
you
got
go.
he's
Right,
got the
from the
hydrogen
Manhattan
symbol on his
Project,
forehead.
right.
And I remember
That's Stanley. What's his name?
he's
Stanley?
like, why didn't you choose the atom symbol? He's like, well, the hydrogen symbol is more appropriate.
The guy who invented Spider-Man, Stanley. What was his last name? The Marvel Comics writer, Stanley.
Stan Lee. Yeah.
Stan Lee. There you go, Stan Lee. I was saying Stanley.
Oh, Stan. It's okay.
What was his last name? No, Stan Lee.
It's okay. All right, let's go back.
He also reported seeing several documents that seemed to contain
right back, guys.
first-hand information on alien civilizations.
Lazar is skeptical of a claim made by Falcon that a group of EBEs have been given complete control of a separate base within Dreamland. But he does admit having read a report of a tragic misunderstanding between military personnel and alien beings in the late 70s. Lazar states that it had to do with bullets the MPs were carrying, and that the bullets might explode, possibly due to a field the aliens had generated in that area. This encounter supposedly resulted in the deaths of all the humans involved by head wounds.
But if there was ever a large-scale alien presence at Area 51, Lazar saw no evidence of it doing his work at S4 in the late 80s.
I think that's
Is it possible that the deadly misunderstanding of 10 years earlier brought human-alien cooperation to an end?
In his September 21, 1987 speech to the UN General Assembly, President Reagan himself did little to dispel the notion that this deadly misunderstanding brought human-alien cooperation to an end.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Are the inconsistencies between various tales coming out of Area 51 evidence that these stories are lies? Or are the discrepancies the result of an intentional campaign of disinformation designed to discredit any elements of truth that may be reaching the public?
If so, how does Victor fit into the jigsaw puzzle of questionable witnesses to the alien presence at Area 51? Is he a hoaxer, a government dupe, or a frightened whistleblower with the hard evidence to back up his story?
I made it very clear to Victor that his credibility was the entire issue here, and that everybody's going to think this is a hoax, and that how are they going to possibly verify this? What he said was, you can do anything you want in terms of verify it. Any type of due diligence, he will answer whatever questions put forward. We could do whatever type of checking. We could bring in experts. We could have the tape tested. We could, in fact, he encouraged all of these aspects. He just did not want his face and his real name revealed.
At Coleman's insistence, Victor agreed reluctantly to appear on camera, but only in disguise, in shadow, and with his voice electronically altered. The questions were agreed upon in advance, but during the actual interview, the discussion occasionally deviated from Victor's approved questions.
What is your occupation at Area 51?
I won't answer that. I have had reason to be present at Area 51, but I'm not going to clarify whether or not I was there as an employee.
Are you saying you were there as a visitor?
I'm not going to specify why or in what capacity I was there, only that I was there.
Can you tell us how many times you were there?
When I agreed to this, my fundamental ground rule was that I would not be asked to divulge personal data that might help pinpoint my identity. If you continue to ask questions that are out of bounds, I won't hesitate to terminate this interview.
Are you saying that the number of times you were present at Area 51 is enough to pinpoint your identity?
Any specifics will narrow the field of suspects. Of course, I could lie. Let's say I've been there 47 times, or anyway, more than once.
Let's turn to the tape itself. The copy you've supplied is not the original tape.
No.
Was the original at Area 51 when you copied it?
That's out of bounds.
Is it fair to assume that the copying of tapes at Area 51 is heavily restricted?
You can assume anything you like. I would say that's a fair assumption. That's obvious.
They stopped the stream on the live.
I will say that this tape was copied under special circumstances. Otherwise, copying it would have been impossible.
He said what?
Your stream got banned. I think we got banned or whatever, flagged or something. They stopped the stream.
Oh, dang.
What is it? You think it's the UFO stuff or what?
I don't know.
Or did I say something?
Honestly.
I must have said something.
we might have to switch the content and boot the stream back up, but it's still going on Rumble.
Well, how about that?
Yeah, Rumble's still going. So maybe we'll just continue this on Rumble. I don't know. Let me take a look real quick and see what it said. Because this all falls under fair use, you know. It doesn't make any sense why we're getting flagged.
Did somebody say the C word? Oh, I said Corona. I did. Yeah. That's probably what it was, man. That's crazy.
You're not supposed to say that?
I guess that's what I heard.
No, YouTube has been getting really strict with this stuff, and they're only going after the smaller channels, it looks like, because I see people using this fair use all the time who don't get flagged.
I might have cussed once. I think I could do it. I did cuss once. Wow.
I don't know if that would. You think that could have?
Yeah.
I'm taking a look right now. I'm seeing what it says.
Well, I don't know. I don't think
it's
one
still live,
but because I know a guy whose channel got banned. His name was Enki. He was doing like energy things with Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
He was cussing like every 3 seconds, forever. I was always
I see a lot of people cussing on live stream, and they don't get demonetized or anything. Let me.
This
I'm
guy
gonna
really cussed.
this.
He was like pushing it, like you couldn't believe.
Somebody in the comments is asking if we watched APEC a lot, and yeah, we did. Does that have anything to do with it?
I don't know. Maybe somebody flagged my channel. I'm gonna see. Crypto's still going. Crypto's channel is still going. So we're going to continue to go. I'm going to investigate this, but since we're still going on Rumble, I'm going to suggest that Bernie, you cut off your YouTube and put on your Rumble if you have a Rumble.
Did YouTube stream stop? I don't know. Is he streaming it?
No, it didn't stop, but I don't want him to get flagged or anything. I don't see a flag. Hold on. It said it was still going under my settings.
Let me check.
Well, let's see here. I don't know. That was weird.
Mm-hmm. No removal requests.
No, you're still going on his channel. That's weird. Your channel wasn't going.
No restrictions. It didn't get flagged. It just said policy violation and it ended it, but it's so weird.
It ended the stream, right?
But it didn't say it violated anything. You know, you get a copyright thing.
I don't know. I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that. What I'm going to do
wherever it ended, that's probably something to do with it right around there. You got to look at the video.
Well, I'm gonna give it a day, and if it doesn't give me any kind of flag or restriction or violation, then I'm just gonna delete this on YouTube and keep it up on Rumble. But yeah, that's weird, right?
Well, they didn't tell me why. They didn't tell me why they ended my stream the other day. I figured it out because they ended it right where I had the Frankenstein video playing, the old black and white.
Oh, they didn't flag you though?
No, they just ended the stream.
Oh, they didn't give you a strike? Okay, that makes sense. So maybe that's what happened. So you didn't get any kind of flag or strike. You just got your stream ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. So we're going to continue
the
this
whole
on
clip.
Rumble.
You know, it was the whole clip of the was the entire clip. That's why.
Oh yeah, let me put the Rumble in.
I think you probably played a whole clip of one of these videos. When you do that, they shut you down.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to pause it as much as possible, you know, and
that's right. I think that's what it is.
This will serve as a good experiment that we cannot actually do that.
Not everything you're playing is fair use, but you can use it as long as you don't play a full scene.
It's subjective. Yeah, you're right. It's subjective, and you want to try to cut as much as possible to commentary and stuff, and just leaving it on a little bit too long, like I did. you know.
Something you're using isn't fair use. If everything is, then you won't have any problem, you know.
Well, it's an automated system. So, I mean, the problem with these automated systems is since this stuff is subjective, they really need a human to look at that and say,
also,
oh, yeah, really does.
So what YouTube does afterwards when it runs it through and it strikes certain things, like if it's accidentally copyrighted, it then gives the option to it edits out the song or the clip for you to then let the video be remonetized, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, or you can dispute it. And I've just successfully disputed some that, you know, using the fair use.
Absolutely. If it's fair use, 100%. But if it's just like music that like was supposedly copyright free, but then does fall under copyright and stuff, then it's like just remove song features pretty easy.
Right. Exactly. And since the automated system, like it picks up, I notice it picks up a lot of stuff and then it'll like incorrectly flag you. Like if the fair use, it'll pick up a lot of fair use violations.
That's what we don't want.
So
what would happen if you restart the stream on YouTube?
I'm not gonna do that because it's still going on Rumble, and I think this serves as a good experiment on what we can and can't get away with on Rumble. So I think from now on we do these like and Bernie, you were saying this the other day that Rumble and a couple other platforms were better for doing these kind of commentaries.
Rumble, X even, but I got to get a monetized account now to be able to stream to it. Pain in the ass, but then I guess I will be monetized, so better in the algorithms. Stuff I'm looking into, and we're also I've got it streaming to my Facebook too, right? So it's like we're seeing what is allowed on all platforms and what gets striked and what sort of free speech they truly allow us.
Right. Well, that's kind of unfortunate. I hope I don't get flagged for that. Honestly, I'm not monetized right now because
I think it's because you played a whole clip from start to finish, you know, on one of these videos. And that's what
it could have been. It could have been a lot of things.
We always have to pause them, and like for fair use, you have to pause a video
around,
and
you know?
and talk about.
No, that's what we were saying. I let it play a little bit too long,
right?
You know, and that's like, how do you tell like how long? Like maybe
30 seconds,
maybe like
you
3
got 30
minutes.
seconds. From what I read,
30 seconds.
It depends how old the media is. If it's
it could be like 5 minutes sort of things.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, if it's old media, you could play it the whole thing. If it's over 10 years old and it's not copyright or whatever, you can play the whole thing. So it's not like 1984. Or
I wonder if you change.
It's whether it has copyright like on it or if it's free and open fair use. And it's like 90% of videos on YouTube are fair use, like open, but then there's like the 10% that are dicks and copyright it and then frickin' cause all sorts of issues with it.
What if you put it through a voice modulator and change the tone of their voice?
I sped it up.
Look, idea.
I've tried a couple of tricks, and using if you actually have a clip that you apply your own music, like copyright free music over, like through StreamYard, it might be enough to trick the system, and because it's looking for that WAV file, right? It's analyzing not the video necessarily, but the WAV file.
So it's like you play it at 1.1 speed and have like an overtone.
And that's what I tried. Thing, right? Yeah, I tried to do here, but I didn't do it fast enough. Maybe it was like 1.25, but maybe I should have sped it up a little bit. I don't know, but enough to trick the algorithm so it doesn't auto flag it. But either way, I don't think I'm going to risk it on YouTube at this point. We'll just do Rumble and Twitch, like you said. Yeah, and I don't know. Did you want to kick off your YouTube, or did you want to continue this?
You know what? I'll just stream it to my channel. I'm going to stream this to my channel right now.
Yeah, we've been streaming to my channels for like an hour.
That's why I'm asking. You want to switch to something else? Because I don't want to get you flagged.
No, it's all good. It doesn't matter.
If it's probably because you use the word
flags. They just move it to members, and it's no issue.
Well, you know what I can do? There's the audio book, and I really wanted to take a look at some of the chapters in the audio book.
They shut me down. I'm gonna stream to my channel.
They shut you down?
No, I'm gonna start streaming this to my channel with the title "The Alien Interview."
Let's look into alien freaking conspiracies tonight. Go for it. The name of the title, right? Whatever you got, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the word "alien" in the title of the stream.
Bernie, are the rules different for YouTube in Canada than the United States, or is it all the same?
But Bernie's still going.
I think it's pretty much all the same, except for when it comes to getting paid, and then it's like the American government takes like another 30% from us on top of YouTube.
Yeah, you should
so
be able to see it on my channel now, Ben.
Oh God, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, we get peanuts. Man, I just had this. Where was it? Oh, you know what? I can pull it up here.
The alien interview. That's why they shut down the stream. You had the word alien in there.
Those jerks.
Maybe you should rename it and call it the visitor video, the visitors video, or something like that. Out of space visitors video.
Is that the first time they shut down
that
your stream?
Power is greatly misguided to protect mankind.
I'm trying to find that on YouTube. I have it downloaded. I'm trying to find it on YouTube so I can get the chapters. Where was the link? Copy link address. There we go. Should be it.
I got a link in there in the private chat for you from Trance Music, from a YouTube channel.
You said what?
Some good music I found on the YouTube, electronic music, royalty free.
Oh, nice. I'll have to take a look at it. Thank you. I like that electronic music you were playing.
There are a number of compelling and heretofore
Okay, so here we have all the chapters, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to take a look at. Let me zoom in so you guys can see. A lesson in ancient history, a timeline of events, religion, double speak, tree of life.
That's so funny.
What?
Religion, double speak. To have that in the same sentence. That's kind of funny.
Anything look interesting that you think we should jump into?
Yeah, the religion double speak one. What's that?
Okay.
School notebook paper, which I assumed had been written personally by Mrs. McElroy. 2, notes typed on a manual typewriter on plain white 20-pound bond paper, which I am assuming were prepared personally by her. At least both had the appearance of having been written in the same handwriting and or typed in the same typewriter consistently throughout. The writing in the notes I received also appeared to be the same as the writing on the address and return envelope of the manila envelope I received from Navan, Ireland, which was postmarked on September 3rd, 2007. Since I am not a forensic expert or handwriting analyst, my opinion in these matters is not a professionally qualified judgment. 3, many types of typewritten transcriptions of her interview with the alien. These were obviously typed on a different typewriter. These pages were typed on a different type of paper and showed apparent signs of age and repeated handling. None of these notes were assembled in any particular order or by date except were indicated by a sentence or paragraph of preamble or explanation by her or by extrapolation from the context of the pages. Voltaire is quoted as having said, History is a Mississippi of lies. According to the comments made by the alien in the interview transcript supplied by Mrs. McElroy, the fundamental lesson of history is that many, many gods have become men, but very few men, if any, have returned to being a god again. According to the alien being Errol, if anything he, she, or it supposedly communicated can be trusted, and if the translation or interpretation of this alleged communication is accurate, the history of this universe is a river of lies, down which the might and freedom of all-powerful godlike immortal spiritual beings ended and was lost in a sea of matter and mortality. Furthermore, according to the very direct and undiplomatic statements made, which seem to express the personal opinion of the alien, if one were traveling the far reaches of the universe in search of a place called Hell, it would be an accurate description of Earth and the inhabitants in its current condition. To further
Wow, the alien straight up called Earth hell. What? WTF? I mean,
yeah, well, that's funny.
Cheers,
the Catholics
right?
call it
They
that,
have
too.
a point. They have a point on that.
They
one.
do. They do.
The
I'm not gonna
Catholics-
lie. It's kind of depressing.
The Catholics say, heaven and hell exist here on earth.
Yeah. No, that's a good point, Mike. That's a very good point. I don't
That's
know.
their belief.
I don't know. It's interesting. I think I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break and go to the bathroom real quick. And I don't know. I don't want to leave this playing. So if you guys have anything to discuss or present, just feel free. I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute.
Play that music in the private chat.
Yeah, the music. Okay, I'll load it up right now. We can all
That's some good
party
stuff.
hardy.
I'm
Well,
so
I
happy
really
I
like
found
the
it.
techno music you were playing.
Only thing is, that guy's channel, he makes great music, but most of it has that same awesome beat, though. You know how they do that sometimes, musicians. They use that same type of thing.
You said it's royalty free?
Yeah, it's royalty free.
This is the stuff that you've been streaming, huh?
Sorry, I'm still also participating in the APEC backstage discussion going on, so I'm back and forth here. My apologies.
No, you're good. Let me just make sure. It doesn't say royalty free.
It is.
Oh, yeah. All content in this sample pack is 100% royalty free. Oh, no. Once purchased, you can use these sounds with your own commercial music with no restrictions. I don't know if I can do that because I'm monetized. Yeah, I'm monetized. It's like they penalized me for logging into the wrong AdSense account, but it wasn't like any kind of strike or anything. I got penalized for 30 days, but I am monetized.
Wild, hey?
Yeah, so I accidentally signed into, you clear your cache and cookies and your password. You got to log in again, and I accidentally logged into the wrong email for my AdSense, and it created a new one, and it's like, oh, well, you have two. Now we're going to shut you down. I'm like, what? No? What? That was an accident. Yeah, but I mean, I guess apparently it's common. They're just, they suck. You suck.
Any excuse to ding you down one, right? Just take you down one.
Right. Well, I mean, at the very least, the music in StreamYard should be safe, right? So I'll play this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna take a quick 5-minute break, and I'll be back, guys. You guys feel free to discuss anything you want to or present anything you want to.
So what does that mean? You can't use it because he's monetized. But it's a
Yeah,
sample
you have to purchase it, then you can use it. So if you're not monetized, you could probably use it and get away with it. But then once you start making money off of it, you have to buy a license.
But it said the sample pack was royalty free. Isn't that the link I sent you? Is the sample pack?
Yeah, and honestly, I've seen that before because I was doing the same thing before I went to go to Motion Array, and Motion Array is what I've been using for all my licensed content regarding music. That and
Why do they
YouTube
complicate
Studio.
things?
I know it's so complicated.
It's royalty free as soon as you buy it one time. Is all. That's all. So that's probably you got to buy it one time, then you could use it all you want.
Yeah, but if you're gonna buy this one time, and that one time, and that one time, and that,
Well,
it's
this track is 3 hours long. This sample pack. So you buy this 3-hour sample pack one time, and you use it all you want. It's royalty free if you're not monetized. You don't have to buy it. But if you are, you got to buy it, and you can use it all as many times as you want without paying twice for it. You just pay once. So that makes it royalty free because you only have to pay for it once.
Yeah, but what if you get bored of it? You want something else?
Well, I don't know. It's 3 hours.
Take a variety.
It's pretty good. I think the beats are good. Really good beats. But
did you send it? Did you send it to me?
I don't know. It's in the private chat.
Okay, yeah, I got it.
And I looked at his channel, and most of the music is, the melodies and the audio, the tones are different, but the beat is similar. You know, musicians do that a lot. So I probably am not going to buy too many tracks from him.
I already listened to the yeah,
but it's awesome. The overall.
I have it. I'm subscribed to it. Yeah, Speed Sound. Yeah, I love this channel.
Yeah, you could listen to it for a few hours, once a week. I don't think every day though. I like to switch it up on the music.
Me too. I follow a bunch of different, music channels, like electronic music. I love it. It gives me energy.
There's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
Electronic music on YouTube and just wherever. Most of it's on YouTube, but
my music starts literally at 8:30.
Euro Nation. Gotta go to Euro Nation.
Yeah, I think I heard of them. Yeah, they're good too. Yeah, the Europeans make really good electronic music. Yeah, probably the best. The Germans, Berlin. I've been to Berlin. That place is full of. All they do is blast, electronic music that you've never heard before. Like the kind of stuff you've never heard before.
The good stuff.
every bar is like the wall. The width of the entrance is like a door or whatever, but the width of the whole place is like 15 feet wide by,
Amsterdam.
60 feet deep.
In Amsterdam,
with 30-foot ceilings, though. Tall ceilings.
What is it called? Hidden Nazi bunkers.
Yeah, they just make a bar out of every place in the centers over there. A bar, and they blast electronic music, and every place is playing it's a different type of electronic music. It's pretty interesting. I'm not an I like to play the real instrument. I'm in favor of that as regarding music, but in the long run, that's where I end up with music, with the real instrument. But
yeah,
in the short run, I'm impressed with electronic music. As a musician, I'm impressed. It's good stuff. Compared to the rock that's been coming out lately, I'm not going to listen.
Listen to this band called Polynesia or something, and they're a rock band, but they play the electric guitar. My God,
some of Taylor
really,
Swift?
really good.
Some of Taylor Swift is okay. It's quality music.
But I don't like music with words. Once
but
they
a
have
lot of
words,
it's
it ruins it.
A lot of it's fanfare. It's like cartoonish, music.
Somebody in the comment is asking me, do I like hip hop abduction? I've never heard of it. But sounds interesting.
Like, what was the other female artist? He did that, all them songs. You're like a firework or whatever was her name. Katy Perry. It's similar to Taylor Swift music. It's all to hype up the fanfare, kind of music. It's not for the music, it's for the fans. It's not for the music, it's for the fans. So the music is not written for the music, it's written for the fans. If you see what I'm saying. It's written to attract the fans, what they want to hear, the beats or whatever that they want to hear, but when music is
Okay,
written for the music, it's a
listen.
whole different thing.
Okay, listen to this band. It's called Polyphia. Polyphia.
Put a link.
I can't. If some
Oh,
for
you're on
some
the
reason
phone.
I can't. Yeah,
Spell that
it's,
again.
it's, I
P-O
can't.
what?
Polyphia. Yeah, and put the song "Playing God." It's one of the most mesmerizing guitar music that you could ever hear. Or just search YouTube "Playing God" and you'll see it.
I have a couple of tracks that I released on Reverb Nation. They're nothing good, but you guys are welcome to listen to them if you want.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So we're talking about
You
music.
can't beat that. Real musicians can beat electronic music if they want to. That's all I'm saying.
If you want to listen to really good electronic rock and psychedelic music, listen to Voyage 34 by Porcupine Tree.
That's some good stuff, Polyphia. They're
Yeah, really good stuff. I know. And there's another one. His name is Lee McKinney. He also plays like good guitar music.
You heard of Matteo Mancuso?
No.
Okay, hold on. I'll post a link in the private chat. I don't want any banning going on here in the stream, but he's a young guitar player, amazing.
But do check out the Lee McKinney. He's also on another level.
Okay. Check the private chat.
You see that?
Lee what? McKinney?
Immortality.
Lee McKinney?
Okay.
What is it?
Ooh, I found a good chapter that we can listen to. Give me 1 second and I'll load it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for music, feel free to put them in the chat. We can't listen to them on stream, obviously, but you know, I'll check them out for sure. I don't know. You guys like the lo-fi or the lo-fi music in the background, or?
Yeah, I'm down with lo-fi. Can we see if there's some that's got like the binaural beats added in, or some of the solfeggios, right?
It only has a couple of options here. So it only has like a handful of options, and it has an add music option for adding your own.
Fair enough.
If you have a track, I can add it. I can search Motion Array.
Another channel is called Sumerian Records. Also, they play really good music.
So, yeah, all this is good music, but of my favorite right now, that's Greg Howie. He's off the chain, dude. He's well known.
Not seeing any on Motion Array. Anyways, they got a chapter on Nikola Tesla here that I wanted to listen to. I guess the alien had some information apparently on Nikola Tesla and the evolution of our species.
Let's hear it.
View, Chapter 11, A Lesson in Science. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, personal note. The transcript of this interview is verbatim. There's nothing more I can add to it. It says everything. Official transcript of interview, top secret. Official transcript of the U.S. Army Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, 509th Bomb Group. Subject, alien interview, July 29, 1947, first session. Today, Errol told me some very technical things. I took a few notes to remind myself so I can repeat what she said. As closely as possible. She began with an analogy about scientific knowledge. Can you imagine how much progress could have been made on Earth if people like Johannes Gutenberg, Sir Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington Carver, Nikola Tesla, Jonas Salk, and Richard Trevithick, and many thousands of similar geniuses and inventors were living today? Imagine what technical accomplishments might have been developed if men like these never died. What if they were never given amnesia and made to forget everything they knew? What if they continued to learn and work forever? What level?
Our world would be completely different. Completely different. That's for sure.
Of technology and civilization could be attained if immortal spiritual beings like these were allowed to continue to create in the same place at the same time for billions or trillions of years. Essentially, the domain is one civilization that has existed for trillions of years with relatively uninterrupted progress. Knowledge has been accumulated, refined, and improved upon in nearly every field of study imaginable and beyond imagining. Originally, the interaction of ISB illusions or inventions created the very fabric of the physical universe, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Originally, the interaction of ISB illusions or inventions created the very fabric of the physical universe, the microcosm and the macrocosm. Every single particle of the universe has been imagined and brought into existence by an ISB. Everything created from an idea, a thought, with no weight or size or location in space.
Not sure what they're referring to here by ISB. It must be some kind of context referred to previously in the audiobook. This is quite a bit of the way through the audiobook. We're not going through the whole 4 hours, obviously.
Speck of dust in space from the size of the tiniest subatomic particle to the size of a sun or Magellanic to the size of a sun or a Magellantic cloud, the size of many galaxies, was created from the nothingness of a thought. Even the tiniest individual cells were contrived and coordinated to enable a microbial entity to sense and navigate through infinitesimally small spaces. These also
You know what? I think it might be a better idea if I just read this myself. And that way we can just safeguard ourselves from further scrutiny. You and every ISB on Earth have participated in the creation of this universe, even though you are now confined to a fragile body made of flesh. You live for only 65 short rotations of your planet around a star. You have been given overwhelming electric shock treatment to wipe out your memory. You must learn everything all over again each lifetime. In spite of all these circumstances, you are who you are and will always be. And deep down, you still know that you are and what you know. You are still the essence of you. I mean, as beautiful as that sentence is, it does scream to me Scientology, and maybe, I don't know, maybe L. Ron Hubbard borrowed some of his creation origin story from this story. I have no idea. He was a science fiction writer, but that's interesting. But again, I'm still slightly skeptical due to the fact that this is kind of similar to Scientology's origin.
So came from an idea thought up by
How else can one understand the child prodigy, an ISB who plays concertos on a piano at 3 years of age without formal training? Impossible if they did not simply remember what they have already learned from thousands of years spent in front of a keyboard in times untold, or on planets far away. They may not know how they know. They just know. Humankind has developed more technology in the past 100 years than in the previous 2,000 years. Why? The answer is simple. The influence of the old empire over the mind and over the affairs of mankind has been diminished by the domain. I guess the domain is something else referred to in the book as well that we do not have context of at this point.
Concertos on a piano.
A renaissance of invention on Earth began in 1250 AD with the destruction of the old empire, space fleet in the solar system. During the next 500 years, Earth may have the potential to regain autonomy and independence, but only to the degree that humankind can apply the concentrated genius of the Isbis on Earth to solve the amnesia problem. However, on a cautionary note, the inventive potential of the Isbis who have been exiled to this planet is severely compromised by the criminal elements of the Earth population, specifically politicians, warmongers, and irresponsible physicists who create unlimited weapons such as nuclear bombs, chemicals, diseases, social chaos. These have the potential to extinguish all life forms on Earth forever. And this is another common theme that we see playing out and unfolding within our very eyes. You know, our macroeconomic system is specifically holding us back, you know, buying the politicians, you know, fueling the warmongers, and backing the irresponsible physicists. Even the relatively small explosions that were tested and used in the past 2 years on Earth have the potential to destroy all life if deployed in sufficient quantities. Larger weapons could consume all the oxygen in the global atmosphere in a single explosion. Therefore, the most fundamental problems that must be solved in order to ensure that Earth will not be destroyed by technology are social and humanitarian problems. The greatest scientific minds on Earth, in spite of mathematical or mechanical genius, have never addressed these problems. And this is another thing that we address on this channel specifically, is the forbidden science of analyzing capitalism's internal contradictions, which is the main key in understanding how, the constraints regarding the suppression of technology, the corruption of politicians and government, and why government specifically doesn't work for the people.
No, but at least in this country, the United States, it's of the people, even if it doesn't work.
Gentlemen, I gotta go. If I have an emergency, my car's not starting. Gotta figure it out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the lights and everything starts, but I think it's the ignition key's not starting, and the starter. And I gotta solve it because I got.
Is it fully in park? Sometime if it's not fully in park, make sure that's.
No, it is, but here, let me show you what it's doing.
Or the wheel. Sometimes you have to lock the wheel a little bit.
I don't know. Here, no, let me get in the car. There's something wrong with it.
Not turning over at all.
Here, let me show you guys. Okay. Can you see me? Okay, this is the dashboard. I start it, and it just won't start.
Then you got a large size.
The relay on your starter is stuck. The trick for that is you tap the starter with a wrench. I did that for like a year and a half on one truck I had.
Well, I'll come back on if I can fix it.
Well, if you know where the starter is, you could tap it with a wrench. You know,
my oldest daughter's coming with her boyfriend. He's a welder. Maybe
Oh.
he might know how to like
There you
fix
go.
it. Yeah. I'll come back on if I can get it.
All right.
We wish you luck.
Gotta take care of the car, man. That's the
Yeah. No, that's key. I mean, you know, my girlfriend's car, you know, the alternator went out, and it's, you know,
sounds like
it's
the
really
alternator
hard.
here too.
Yeah, and it's really hard, you know, when you don't have transportation.
Yeah, I mean, only in the United States, the government. I mean, I don't know about Canada, but in the United States, the government's of the people. It's
Right.
made- it's
Well,
comprised of the people.
and this is just my
Their
take on
names,
everything,
you know,
and
the
I
government
know
workers are public information.
I know a lot of people don't agree with me, and that's cool, you know. But my specific opinion on this is it doesn't matter what government you're dealing with, as long as you're organizing labor under capitalism, how capitalism organized labor with a small group in control of the means of production. You're always going to have a system where that small group buys the
Yeah, they use
political
money
system.
to do that. They bribe.
Right. So until you have economic democracy,
That's in
you
every
can never have
government.
political
You can't get away from
democracy.
that. That's fueled by greed in all governments. I mean, if there's greed anywhere in the population, it's going to get into any system you create.
But there is a theory that I have, and that specifically is when the workers actually own the means of production, you know, that doesn't happen. You don't see that level of
Say that
corruption.
again. That's I've heard that phrase before. That's a Teamsters thing, isn't that? Is that like a
I mean, unions play part
union? The
in
union
that,
stuff?
but I'm specifically talking about advocating for businesses like Beneficence TV. When we expand, if we expand, we're going to be a worker cooperative, meaning the workers own the means of production. We
Right.
get together democratically.
It's a
and
lot
make
like
the decisions.
farmers. That's a lot like farmers, how they
Right.
co-op their fields, right? Yeah.
It's a co-op, and it's run democratically, where each worker gets one share, one vote, basically, and we share responsibilities, and it's more efficient. And honestly, if you
What-
have more of a system
Where has
like
that
that, it
ever
doesn't lead
existed?
to
Where has it ever existed? I mean, in the United States, everybody gets a vote, right? Not that everybody's using it, so we kind of have that same system here, right? Even though nobody's not doing it, you know, not everybody's voting, right? But if you were
mean,
in a
the-
co-op that everybody voted in, you know, and voting was
we do have-
mandatory, then it would work.
They are catching on. They're catching on for sure. And we do have examples of very successful co-ops like the Mondragon Corporation, which is the third largest corporation in Spain. They're a multi-conglomerate. You know, Microsoft and GM both send their teams over to learn from them. They're so good and efficient at what they do. But the whole point is to level the playing field. And when you have a system that's where you have to redistribute wealth because there's such a unfair distribution of it, you have to think, oh, where's that distribution happening? It's happening in wages and in your salary, right? Where you have a small group in control of all those financial decisions who aren't actually contributing to the means of production, right? But the larger group who actually produce do not get what they produce. They're
Right.
producing.
What you're referring to is specifically the wealthy, not the rich, not the middle class, not the upper class. You're referring to the wealthy. These are the class, I guess you call them a class, that don't utilize money.
Right.
They're wealthy. They own a lot of shit, stuff. You know? And
Right.
so they're
in
wealthy.
a system where
But
you
they
say
hold title. They hold title to land and stuff. You know? Like
right, they own capital.
the British Prince Charles or whatever. Yeah.
But the problem with
The
giant
royalty, these
systems-
monarchies, they still have all the title to all these lands. So
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, that's a point that I make. We escaped feudalism, right? Only to establish it here in little tiny, kingdoms.
I mean,
Mike
define
Zuckerberg.
what is feudalism to you?
So feudalism is where you have a monarchy, right? You have a king and his court who
So
basically
it's his way or the
own-
highway, basically.
right. It's an authoritarian type
So that's
of system.
feudalism. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
we do
And we
kind of have that here
transitioned
today,
to
don't we?
yeah, we transitioned from feudalism from slavery to feudalism from slavery, and then we transitioned to capitalism. We overthrew
You can go to
feudalism.
court. You can argue the statutes all you want, but the judge is going to just, in the end, trump you.
Right. But I mean, capitalism was the next step. Obviously, it took us this far, but you know, like any other system before it, it's going to succumb to its internal contradictions. And these internal contradictions are
The best chance you have
considered
against a judge in this country is saying not guilty. As soon as you say no contest, you are going the highway, their way.
But my
Not-
point is,
you know.
but my point is, these internal contradictions will always lead to an outcome where the system implodes in on itself. And until we address these internal contradictions, we're always going to have a system where basically we're slaves. And that's what we are when we work for a wage. You know, you
Well,
have no
the best
say
way
in
to
what you
end-
do.
The best way
you
to
know?
end slavery is
You
with
go to work
education.
and it's an authoritarian, you know, you go to work and you're told what to do. You have no say, you know?
Well, Ben, if you look at these fifth world, third world countries that run slaves today, the way they do it is by depriving them of education. That's how they keep these human beings
Yeah.
dumbed down
And it's
and under
you
control.
you see that play out in different scales too within our system too. You know, it's a system ensuring the conditions of its own existence is what I like to call it.
They
and
keep you from the education and they
Mhm.
keep you under control. So the
And
best
listen,
thing
this
you
is-
can do to fight is educate yourself for one.
exactly, Mike. And you know, it's crazy because a lot of people don't even realize that
They don't want
capitalism
you
ensure-
educated, you know. No, not
But
the,
listen-
not the power drivers, the ones that are
right.
stuck on controlling everything.
But
Those
listen,
guys
this
don't
is the
want
most-
you educated.
This is the most important part. Capitalism obscures its own definition to ensure the conditions of its own existence. And what do I mean by that? I mean that we all think that capitalism is a system of free markets and
Yeah, but
private
I don't
property.
think the wealthy play into
that's-
capitalism. I don't think that.
But listen. Right. That's besides the point. Just listen to what I have to say. The definition of capitalism isn't free markets and private property. When you define something, you have to define what's different about it, right? What's different about capitalism is the way labor is organized with a small group in control of a large group who produce, right? A small group who don't produce in control of a large group who do
like
produce.
CEOs and stuff.
Right. And it's also the individual private ownership of tradable shares of stock. right?
Y'all
Those are-
got way off alien interview topic, by the
Right.
way.
Yes, we got way off on this
Well, I
table.
think where Ben's heading is that the capitalism is
Way-
controlled by aliens.
You're like triggering all the chat, getting into political stuff, and you know, like let's get back to the aliens, man. Come
I think Ben is convinced that our government is taken
it's
over
technically-
That's right, but I got to go as the wife finally called and is on her way home, so I've got to get over to her place, but I can leave her streaming if you're going back into the alien stuff. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just explaining to Mike my background, right, and how I perceive
fair enough.
everything, and how the forbidden science of political economy is also important and relevant. That's all. Because it does, it keeps us, it holds us back. Our
political
technology
economy,
has been
when you put it like
suppressed.
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something that a lot of people miss. It's part of the missing piece of the whole picture, in my opinion. And a lot of people might disagree, and that's cool. You know, I'm cool with that. I'm used to people arguing with me.
When you say the political economy, you're saying this economy that's political is trading in the hidden science or not trading in the hidden science?
It's just the way we do things is suppressing the technology. That's all I'm saying.
So they are trading in the
Hey,
hidden science.
I'm gonna end it on my Crypto Alchemist YouTube channel, but I'm gonna keep it going on my Burn Eye YouTube channels, and I'll leave this camera up and going with you because I gotta go. But yeah, so I'll still leave it live on my one channel, but just remove it on the other.
No, you're good. Yeah, we're gonna get back
All right,
into
all
this. I'm
right.
gonna read some more chapters.
Cool. Much love.
Thanks, Bernie.
So they're
Thank
probably
you.
trading the secrets of these technologies within the political economy, and it's being traded,
Yeah.
but it's being kept secret.
Yeah, it could be.
It must be.
I don't know.
because-
It's frustrating, but yeah, I don't know. I don't want to upset anybody. So let's get back. Like that's just a tangent that I went off on. I'm sorry. Like that's way off topic.
Did you see that? Yeah, it is off topic, but you're right. Those, what was his name? From SAC, SAC. That guy, he was making a bunch of money for his investors, but he was lying to everybody. It was a Ponzi or whatever.
Right.
Well, you got that element.
Oh, don't you be bringing up Bernie Madoff, because that Bernie in jail, all right? Bernie Mac dead,
No, I think it was
Bernie
Steve.
Mac jail, Bernie Sanders lost, and I'm the only Bernie left, all right? All right. And on that, good night.
He's YouTube Jesus right there. That's YouTube Jesus.
Well, humans have frailties, and one of them is greed. Okay, and so you can't expect the governments to run themselves free of that frailty.
Can you see this, Mike? Can you read that?
I see the text, but I can't read it. No.
No, you can't read it. Okay, let me try to blow it up a little bit. How about now?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll just have to pick something.
That's Streamlabs.
Yes.
You should be able to maximize it.
A lesson on immortality. Everyone's got. I did, but I guess it's not enough. It's okay. I don't want it to be too big. Just because I want to fall under fair use as much as possible. But I am reading it myself, so it should be fine.
I don't really think these ETs are like coming. All of them are coming from somewhere else. I think a few of them are at least from here. They're from Earth. They're just living, in places we don't live.
Roswell.
Yeah, that could be like you talking about the inner Earth theory,
Or
the hollow
just-
Earth theory.
Or just somewhere in the middle of the ocean on an island that we'll never go to, Or
Oh yeah.
Or on the top of peaks of mountains that are freezing, and they have technology, right?
Right. Well, there are reports of a lot of activity under the water. Oh, I'm getting
Mr. Mission Control, you're going to have to turn off
I'm getting
the
an echo.
Hold on.
Hold on a sec. Until you fix it. Sorry. But I think you got YouTube still playing or something, or you got to fix your mic.
If you got at least a couple of these ETs living on this planet somewhere, at least one of them is more advanced than us. And that means they can live in places we cannot. The Earth is hostile. It's not all great. We just got some good parts of it,
So honeycomb Earth?
I mean, there's that theory. It came out before the flat Earth thing even came out. I mean, I don't know if you know about the ring Earth theory.
No, what's the ring Earth theory?
Well, like we live on one ring, and they're saying there's multiple outer rings and each ring has a.
This isn't like flat Earth. This isn't played at the flat Earth.
Well,
theory.
the flat Earth is not. The flat Earth does not suggest that the Earth is bigger than it is. That they say it is. The ring Earth does. The ring Earth theory suggests that the Earth is many times bigger than they say that it is. And then, when you go along with that theory in your head, it becomes a lot easier to say to yourself, maybe these flying UFOs are not coming from deep space. Maybe they're coming from this planet. It's just really big, and we can't go very far on it because it gets really cold or whatever, really hot. I mean, if it gets even 120 degrees, you're not going to go there, dude. and that's not even that hot. But you're not going to drive your car in that direction, or your plane, or your boat, because it's 100. The temperature's 120 degrees in that direction. So that's the
Right,
ring Earth
right.
thing. The rings are where the temperature shifts are, and the
Yeah, I don't know.
ice.
Not a lot of people have been to the poles, so
Well, the pole is the outer ring of this ring, the ring we're in. Nobody knows if it's the center ring or if it's the outer ring. They don't know how many rings there are, but between each ring there is ice.
well, the real question is, who is the Lord of the Rings?
That's a good one too. There.
Okay, let's get into this chapter. All right.
Yeah.
Boy, personal
can't
note,
find that on
transcript of
YouTube
air
anymore.
FBs.
You said what?
I haven't really looked into the ring Earth theory, but I've seen the theory before on the internet. It's not very popular.
Oh, sorry. Immortal spiritual beings, which I refer to as Isbis for the sake of convenience, are the source and creators of illusions. Each one individually and collectively in their origin, unfettered state of being, are an eternal, all-powerful, all-knowing entity. Isbis create space by imagining a location. The intervening distance between themselves and the imagined location is what we call space. An Isbi can perceive the space and object created by another Isbi. Isbis are not physical universe entities. They are a source of energy and illusion. Isbis are not located in space-time, but can create space-time, or can create space, place particles in space, create energy, and shape particles into various forms, cause the motion of forms, and animate forms. Any form that is animated by Isbi is called life. So this really reminds me of maybe like plasmoids or exotic vacuum objects, maybe. An Isbi can decide to agree that they are located in space or time, and that they themselves are an object or any other manner of illusion created by themselves or another Isbi. The disadvantage of creating an illusion is that an illusion must be continually created. If not continually created, it disappears. Continual creation of an illusion requires in essence attention to every detail of the illusion in order to sustain it. Interesting. A common denominator of an Isbi seems to be the desire to avoid boredom. A spirit can only without interaction with other Isbis and the unpredictable motion, drama, and unanticipated intentions and illusions being created by other Isbis can easily bored. What if you could imagine anything, perceive everything, and cause anything to happen at will? What if you couldn't do anything else? What if you always knew the outcome of every game and the answer to every question? Wouldn't you get bored? The entire back time track of Isbis is immeasurable, nearly infinite in terms of physical universe time. There is no measurable beginning or end for an Isbi. They simply exist in an everlasting now. Like the all permeating consciousness, all-seeing consciousness.
That's so funny. I've either read or heard this text before, and I remember
Really?
it. Yes, and it's very impactful. You would remember it if you heard it again, put it that way.
Right. No, that's interesting.
It's a great concept. It's got to do with what the consciousness or something.
Yeah, the higher consciousness, the all permeating super fluid that runs throughout the entire universe, that runs the universe.
It makes me remember me thinking that, I believe, this is what I believe. The mind does not see with its eyes that which it does not know. So you could have a dinosaur in front of you about to eat you, but you won't see it because you were told they don't exist. already. So you know they don't exist already. And when you were told that, you believed it. Didn't you? You do now. That's my point.
Right.
So bake your mind on that one. So yes, the mind does not see that what it does not know. So yeah, and I had an experience where I saw something that was not the moon, and I wrote it off as the moon. So that's my point. The mind doesn't see what it doesn't know. So the mind will replace what you are seeing with something that you do know. In this case, the moon, you know.
Right. It likes to fill in those patterns.
Uh-huh. And, you know, then the mind will later process the things that don't match. And because the eye did see, but it replaced it what it knows, with not what it doesn't know. So if I saw a light in the sky in there during the day, hey, it's the moon, right?
Right.
The first thing you're gonna accept it as the moon, because that's what you know.
Well,
because that's what you know is up there.
The mind likes to play tricks on us for sure. I've never seen anything crazy personally, but there was this one time, and this freaked the heck out of me. Like I was really like my heart was racing when this happened because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how it happened, but the dog was walking past. We had this real heavy bed, right? It was a bed with drawers, you know, real heavy frame, solid wood. Drawers didn't come out easy. They didn't just roll out, right? That you had to pull on them a little bit. They were heavy drawers. This drawer, while the dog was walking by, just popped out on its own and scared the crap out of the dog and me with it. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, what happened there? But in terms of UFOs or anything like that, I've never experienced anything.
You can't put an explanation to it because you don't know what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't. Dude, I spent the next 2 hours.
Let me ask you though,
like
when
taking
you saw
the
it happen,
drawer out and saying like, what?
Let me ask you a question here, and I want you to think about the question being asked, not the answer. When you saw the drawer move, what did you think made the drawer move initially? At that,
I have no idea.
In your head, what ran through your head? Oh, the dog kicked it, or what ran through your head?
Oh, immediately I thought the dog caught it with its collar and pulled it. But that's impossible.
You see what I'm saying? You replaced it with what you know. You replaced.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly. I replaced it with what I know.
Yeah,
and I know that's impossible.
There you go. I've done that too, and you will realize that because that's what we're trained to do.
Yeah.
So when you go to school, you look at the globe in there, the ball turning, and you are taught now.
You're absolutely right. Wow. No, you're absolutely right. But that's
There's
the
no
whole thing. Like
now, you don't question anymore. You end the question.
Yeah.
So there you go. The ring Earth is a question for you.
So let's look up this ring Earth theory real quick because I'm interested.
To me, anyway, it suggests that there is. That doesn't suggest. This is a theory. The ring Earth theory is that the Earth is way bigger than they say it is, basically, and there's rings that go outwards. So if that's the case, some of these craft or aliens or whatever are probably from one of those rings, not so much from outer space, you know. You do gotta admit, some of them do fly awfully low. You know, some of them might be from further away, but
specific. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on that specific theory. I see like
I know because they don't. I think it's been washed out of the internet because before the flat Earth stuff came out, the ring Earth thing was there. A few flat Earthers know about it still. I'm not a flat Earther or a glober.
Neither am I.
Maybe a ring Earther though. I don't know.
A ring Earther. So you like this though? You like this?
I definitely think the Earth is bigger than they tell us it is.
That's cool. I like that.
I'm siding with that 100%. And they've been controlling the resources forever. We already know that. So why would they control the resources for such a long time if there isn't plenty of resources? They don't want you to get your hands on it. You could change the market if you do, you know?
Yeah, like that Fucanelli who disappeared, you know, who's supposedly transmutating lead into gold. And he disappeared at the end of World War II.
In Africa, today there is a crack in the earth that goes about, I don't know, 50 miles or something. And it's very dangerous and it emits steam and all, like straight out of sci-fi, you know, crack in the earth. Africans are banned from going in there because it's dangerous. You can die. So they don't let nobody go in there. But Africans still go in there. They trespass and they break the law. And they go in there. Why are they going in there? Because there's gold down there. They come up with gold. And yeah, and there's a lot of gold down there in that crack in the earth. But they're not going to let nobody mine it with machines. No, you could safely mine that crack with machines, but they don't. They keep it off limits to the public, though. And that's been that way for a long time. So that's how they control the gold market, with that crack in the earth today. That crack in the earth has got nobody mining it right now, but except regular Joe Schmoes with with sandals on and a little pick hammer.
That earth got plumber's crack.
Now look it up. There's a crack in the earth in Africa where you know, gold is in there and diamonds and all kinds of stuff. So there's plenty of stuff. The earth is producing these materials. It's a living organism.
Says the East African Rift is a crack in the Earth's crust in Africa that runs through cratons with significant mineral resources, including gold, and antimony, iron, chromium, and nickel.
Yeah, that's it. But you're not allowed to mine it. I'm pretty sure.
I'll pull up the picture here so everybody can see.
I mean, maybe there's you know, intelligent species gatekeeping these areas where all the, you know, the ones underground.
Well,
they gatekeep the minerals.
Who was that? That was that gentleman who was he was speaking in the 90s or the 80s, and he hurt he got like his fingers cut off or something. He claimed to be an engineer who worked on Phil Schneider.
Yeah,
it makes you wonder, you know.
That's a controversial one.
Yeah, but it does. It makes you wonder.
He worked underground on those bunkers. He said he ran into some, you know, there you go. They run like I said earlier, the earth is bigger than they say it is, and there's more than our species living here.
Yeah,
humanoid species. What's so hard to accept about that, though? I mean,
he says there's like a base down there, right?
Our ego gets in our way of accepting the basic fundamentals of nature, you know? We are not the only humanoid species, if not on this planet, the entire cosmos. For sure. And get over it, you know? Like, you know what? That's all I'm saying. There is more than one fish, you know, type of fish. There's more than one type of bird, you know? There are humanoid species. Probably the most diverse of all the life is of the humanoid species. There's more species of humanoid than any species, in my opinion, than any species. That's just my opinion.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it's very interesting.
We are more able to adapt. We're not so rugged like other species, you know, but we have the right properties and geometries to adapt to more situations than any species with their current physical geometries that they have. You know, like the thumb, for instance, you know, the monkey has a thumb, right? It has two thumbs, one on its feet, two on its feet also. We lost two of our thumbs. maybe. I don't know. But anyway, the thumb changes everything. That's why the ape is got the thumb, and it's pretty much going to be the dominant creature on the land other than us, because we had the thumb way before the ape did. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we're way more
The,
advanced.
yeah, the opposable thumb.
Right. The ape just got the thumb, in my opinion.
Alien Interview, Chapter 7, A Lesson in Ancient History. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, personal note. My instruction with Errol continued through the
But just
night
bringing up
until
Bigfoot,
dawn of the next
you know.
morning.
You said what, Mike?
Just thinking about humanoid species. Bigfoot is one of them also, a humanoid species. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you know, a lot of people tried to discredit the Patterson video, but you know, I think recent evidence kind of concluded that
No
yeah,
more
you see, like,
outrageous is Bigfoot than
see
an
muscles
alien.
moving in, yeah, but you see muscles moving in that video, like, you know, pexes and stuff flexing, you know, like, so it's like, how can you, you know, like, that's a level of detail that we didn't see when it wasn't upscaled. So I don't know.
Yeah, what's the difference between seeing Bigfoot, a big, bulky, muscular humanoid with hair, or a skinny, scrawny, thin, hairless humanoid that looks like a ET? There's no difference. It's just in
But
our
we've been
head.
conditioned to think, oh, automatically it's an extraterrestrial. It could be something from the Earth, like you said. You know, like
Right, that's
yeah,
our
that's
first
interesting.
assumption because we've been conditioned to think that first.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the moon, or it's, what did you say? The dog kicked the shelf, or kicked the drawer with his leg, something like that, right? That's your first assumption, because that's what you know. That's what, you have to write off events to rationalize them. You're trained to rationalize everything. So
yeah.
And your rational is within a boundary of your mathematical teachings and all that, you know. And our science is not complete by any means. Our math isn't either. I mean, they've
No,
proven
and
that already with the math. With
right.
it's
It just frustrates me because a lot of people in mainstream academia they act like it's complete, or they act like
no,
there
it's
couldn't
not.
be
The
this
math
missing
formulas
component.
are not good. They're not good enough. Because if they were, they wouldn't need so many variables.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely. That's a good point. I'm going to play this video for a second. I'll be right back.
I must say that I was fascinated, skeptical, shocked, alarmed, dismayed, and disgruntled by the lesson I was getting from Errol. I could never have imagined any of what she was telling me, not even in my wildest dreams and nightmares. The next afternoon, after I had slept, showered, and eaten, I was debriefed about my interview session the previous evening by members of the gallery who recorded my account of what Errol told me. There was a stenographer present for the session as usual, to whom I debriefed after each interview, and there were also 6 or 7 men who asked for clarification of my statements. As always, there was constant pressure applied to me to use my influence with Errol to persuade her to answer specific questions prompted by members of the gallery. I did my best to reassure everyone that I would give my very best efforts to do so. Nevertheless, only 3 things happened every day thereafter. Errol resolutely refused to answer any questions that she sensed had been posed by or suggested to me by the gallery. 2. Errol continued to instruct me in the subject matter of her own choice. 3. Every evening after my interview with or instruction from Errol, she would give me a new list of subject matter about which she wanted more information. Each evening, I presented this list to the gallery. The next day, Errol received a large stack of books, magazines, articles, and so forth. She would study all of these during the night while I slept. This pattern repeated every day during the remainder of the time I spent with her. The subject matter of my next interview or lesson from Errol continued with a brief history of Earth, our solar system, and nearby space from the perspective of the domain. Official transcript of interview, top secret. Official transcript of the U.S. Army Air Force Roswell Army Airfield 509th Bomb Group. Subject, alien interview, July 25th, 1947, first session. Before you can understand the subject of history, you must first understand the subject of time. Time is simply an arbitrary measurement of the motion of objects through space. Space is not linear. Space is determined by point of view of an ISB when viewing an object. The distance between an ISB and the object being viewed is called space. Objects or energy masses in space do not necessarily move in a linear fashion. In this universe, objects tend to move randomly or in a curving or cyclical pattern, or as determined by agreed upon rules. History is not only a linear record of events, as many authors of Earth history books imply, because it is not a string that can be stretched out and marked like a measuring tool. History is a subjective observation of the movement of objects through space, recorded from the point of view of a survivor rather than those who succumbed. Events.
So this is actually a pretty big chapter, it looks like. I don't think we've even touched on the chapter title yet. Let me catch up on chat and see where we're at.
Time is an oscillation. It's a revolution. It's
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because Marco Rodin describes it as an infinity of not direction, but duration. So yeah, cyclical. Exactly. Yeah, don't stop. Yeah, so I gotta periodically stop every now and then and commentate on it to fulfill the fair use guidelines. But we will continue with this. Don't worry. Fear not.
Fear not.
Occur interactively and concurrently, just as the biological body has a heart that pumps blood while the lungs provide oxygen to the cells, which reproduce using energy from the sun and chemicals from plants, at the same time as the liver strains toxic waste from the blood and eliminates them through the bladder and the bowels. All of these interactions are concurrent and simultaneous. Although time runs consecutively, events do not happen in an independent linear stream. In order to view and understand the history or reality of the past, one must view all the events as part of an interactive whole. Time can also be sensed as a vibration, which is uniform throughout the entire physical universe. Errol explained that Isbis have been around since before the beginning of the universe. The reason that they are called immortal is because a spirit is not born and cannot die, but exists in a personally postulated perception of is, will be. She was careful to explain that every spirit is not the same. Each is completely unique in identity, power, awareness, and ability. The difference between an Isbi like Errol and most of the Isbis inhabiting bodies on Earth is that Errol can enter and depart from her doll at will. She can perceive at selective depths through matter. Errol and other officers of the domain can communicate telepathically. Since an Isbi is not a physical universe entity, it has no location in space or time. An Isbi is literally immaterial. They can span great distances of space instantly. They can experience sensations more intensely than a biological body without the use of physical sensory mechanisms. An Isbi can exclude pain from their perception. Errol can also remember her identity, so to speak, all the way back into the dim mists of time for trillions of years. She says that the existing collection of suns in this immediate vicinity of the universe have been burning for the last 200 trillion years. The age of the physical universe is nearly infinitely old, but probably at least 4 quadrillion years since its earliest beginnings. Time is a difficult factor to measure as it depends on the subjective memory of Isbis, and there has been no uniform record of events throughout the physical universe since it began. As on Earth, there are many different time measurement systems defined by various cultures, which use cycles of motion and points of origin to establish age and duration. The physical universe itself is formed from the convergence and amalgamation of many other individual universes, each of which were created by an Isbi or group of Isbis.
That's interesting. So they're pretty much saying in this context, in this supposed interview, that the
that Isbis are not neither here or there. They're like everywhere.
But they're saying, but they're saying that the universe is so old that we don't actually know, the spirits don't actually know how old the universe is, which kind of doesn't make sense if you think about the Akashic record. Like everything's in the Akashic record. We would know, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
It sounds like these Isbis are not living within one revolution of time, and they are living They're not. They revolve. They can transfer themselves between time revolutions. So possibly there's more than one revolution of time, and we're in one of them.
Tyler says, time is the big unknown. Is time the difference between a cognitive state or not? If you die, is that just the no longer ability to perceive time, thus causing quantum state entropy? That's a very good question, Tyler. We don't know. But I think that just goes on what your faith is, and in these cases, sometimes we don't have proof, and we might never know. You just have to rely on your faith and what you believe.
Time is the container of all frequencies, like all frequencies, and there are bandwidths that we are not aware of because we don't know them. Back into what your mind knows and doesn't know. So, like the quantum, what's it called? The quantum entanglement with the tense rope theory. The tense string, tug on both ends, you get quantum transmutation of vibration from one end to the other, instantaneous. There is no
no delay, no lag. Yeah, it doesn't matter how long the distance is.
Right. That suggests that a frequency that we're not that's not in our bandwidth of measurements.
Yeah, you imagine like that graph, they display for visualizing space-time, the sheet, and you put the mass on it and it kind of sinks in. Imagine like pulling one part of that all the way to the other, and then those two are connected, and whatever you do to one, you're pulling on one. It doesn't matter how far apart they are in the universe, it's just going to react instantaneously.
Yeah. Well, what Zara was saying about that craft and the anti-gravity machine is he needed a lot of electric to get it going and to make the magnetic field strong enough because what he's getting at, the gravity A and B fields. Gravity A, I believe, was the one that's it's everywhere, it's non-local, and it's the weak gravity. And gravity B, I could be wrong about this, it's either or. And gravity B is the local gravity. It's local to your cells and whatever, and it's the stronger gravity. It could be the vice versa or something like that's going on. And between those two gravities, so the one that you need to manipulate is the weak one. It's the one that's everywhere. So when you create a magnetic field strong enough, the reason why you need to manipulate the one that's everywhere is because you're trying to go from point A to point B, and everywhere encompasses that. If you were to manipulate the gravity field that's local, you're not going to go very far. You have to manipulate the other gravity field. I don't know which one it is, B or A, but the one that's everywhere, the non-local gravity field, that is the weaker gravity field, the weak force. And since it's a weak force, the theory is pretty strong that you can manipulate it. So by creating a magnetic field strong enough, if you have enough electricity and you can create a magnetic field strong enough, you can bend that gravity field that's everywhere, and with it, space and time. And you're not moving yourself, you're moving space and time. And you're standing still, but space is moving and everything else is moving around you. And then when you get to where you want to be, you disengage the gravity field, and you end up in that location. It's kind of weird, but it makes sense to me when it comes to magnetic field strength. If you have such a strong field, I don't doubt it.
It does make sense, Mike.
I don't doubt that you can bend space and time.
Yeah,
and the gravity field within it.
Everything is related. Gravity is nothing more than a different modality of.
I don't think that's destructive either.
I
don't think that would be destructive to space and time itself, because it's such a weak field. What are you going to destroy?
But yeah, the gravity is just another modality of magnetism. So yeah, it's all related. The universe, like Ken Wheeler says, the universe isn't complicated. It's very lazy. It does things simple.
You're not competing up against a lot of energy, so there's nothing getting destroyed here. But you need a lot of energy to create the magnetic field to bend yourself far enough in space to get such a long distance. And you have to wonder how these craft never get hit by rocks and stuff and get totally destroyed doing.
Yeah, they
such
must
like-
have some kind of force field that's produced.
Well, that's how. That's how they're not.
Yeah.
They're not moving. They're not moving.
Oh, they're
through the rock.
phasing. Yeah, they're phasing through it.
The rocks moving around them, including space and everything else.
Oh, they're
not
warping it. I see. They're warping space time around. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not.
No,
they're
that
not
makes
actually moving. Space is.
right.
They're bending the gravity field.
They're
weak
bending it
gravity
around the
field.
craft. Yeah.
They're bending the weak gravity field that's everywhere. It's called the non-local gravity field. It's supposed to be all over the place. It's the if you can bend that with a strong enough magnetic field, in theory, you're moving into space with it. But then when you turn off the field, it returns to its original position. It's very elastic. It's weird, yeah. But that's what they say. It's like the space is an elastic material. It doesn't. It's not something you can destroy per se.
Right, but you can warp it or bend it.
It's like
Yeah, that's
plastic wrap.
interesting. Yeah, or a stretchy rubber band.
It's an energy field that has its momentum established, but you can temporarily manipulate that momentum. But temporarily, of course, your energy is not going to be strong enough to last very long, but it's long enough to relocate you. And put you in another position in that energy field, the overall energy field that we are bending in the first place.
I got an itching to continue this video, so I'm going to continue it, and we'll take a quick
If it's
look
the
at what they
ether,
got
it
here.
has to include the actual space itself.
Universes commingled and coalesced and were solidified
Can
to
you
form a
stop?
mutually created universe. Because it is agreed that energy and forms can be created but not destroyed, this creative process has continued to form an ever-expanding universe of nearly infinite physical proportions. Before the formation of the physical universe, there was a vast period during which universes were not solid but wholly illusionary. You might say that the universe was a universe of magic illusions, which were made to appear and vanish at the will of the magician. In every case, the magician was one or more Isbis. Many Isbis on Earth can still recall vague images from that period. Tales of magic, sorcery, and enchantment, fairy tales and mythology speak of such things, although in very crude terms. Each Isbi entered into the physical universe when they lost their own home universe. That is, when an Isbi's home universe was overwhelmed by the physical universe, or when the Isbi joined with other Isbis to create or conquer the physical universe. On Earth, the ability to determine when an Isbi entered the physical universe is difficult for two reasons. One, the memory of Isbis on Earth have been erased, and two, Isbi's arrival or invasion into the physical universe took place at different times, some 60 trillion years ago, and others only 3 trillion. Every once in a short while, a few million years, an area or planet will be taken over by another group of Isbis entering into the area. Sometimes they will capture other Isbis as slaves. They will be forced to inhabit bodies to perform menial or manual work, especially mining mineral ores on heavy gravity planets such as Earth. Errol says that she has been a member of the Domain Expeditionary Force for more than 625 million years, when she became a pilot for a biological survey mission, which included occasional visits to Earth. She can remember her entire career there and for a very long time before that. She told me that Earth scientists do not have an accurate measuring system to gauge the age of matter. They assume that because certain types of materials seem to deteriorate rather quickly, such as organic or carbon-based matter, that there is a deterioration of matter. It is not accurate to measure the age of stone based on the measurement of the age of wood or bone. This is a fundamental error. Factually, matter does not deteriorate. It cannot be destroyed. Matter can only be altered in form, but it is never truly destroyed. The Domain has conducted a periodic survey of the galaxies in this sector of the universe since it developed space travel technologies about 80 trillion years ago. A review of changes in the complexion of Earth revealed that mountain ranges rise and fall, continents change location, the poles of the planet shift, ice caps come and go, oceans appear and disappear, rivers, valleys, and canyons change. In all cases, the matter is the same. It is always the same sand. Every form and substance is made of the same basic materials which never deteriorates. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, personal note. I cannot even begin to imagine how advanced the civilization may have become technically and mentally after trillions of years. Just think of how advanced our own country has become compared to only 150 years ago. Only a few generations ago, transportation was on foot, horseback, or boat. Reading was done by candlelight. Heating and cooking were done over a fireplace, and there wasn't any indoor plumbing. Official transcript of interview. Errol described the abilities of an ISB officer of the domain to me, and she demonstrated one to me when she contacted telepathically a communications officer of the domain who was stationed in the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is composed of thousands of broken up pieces of a planet that once existed between Mars and Jupiter. It serves as a good low-gravity jumping-off point for incoming spacecraft traveling toward the center of our galaxy. She requested that this officer consult information stored in the files of the domain concerning the history of Earth. She asked...
That's interesting. That's another common theory we see on the internet, that the asteroid belt was a planet there.
No. I heard is that John Lear, the pilot guy, he said that the asteroid belt was formed by a planet that was destroyed by an enemy species, humanoid species. It was called.
John Lear's an interesting guy.
The planet was called Man, and the planet Man had the most amazing cities and structures you can imagine. And that's why they destroyed it, because they were envious of the planet and all of its structures and the evil species, alien, whatever it was, I don't know. They destroyed Planet Man, and it formed the asteroid belt.
Join me at the
It was a big planet. I think it was. It was like It was like the biggest planet. I think. I don't know. That's just a theory from that pilot guy, John Lear. I don't know if it's a theory or it's his story that he heard somewhere.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. He's an interesting guy.
You know, you ever wonder why, if Earth is round, why aren't the galaxies also round? Why are they shaped like a pizza?
Yeah, it's a spiral. Yeah.
And Earth is spinning too. You know, so is the galaxy. So you would think one day Earth is going to flatten out too because it's spinning.
Oh no, we're not getting into the flat Earth theory now.
No, you know what I'm saying though. That's physics. It's spinning.
Yeah,
Eventually, it's going to flatten out because of the spin. It's like you drop a something on a paint on a spinning disc. What happens? You know.
Yeah, it is interesting. I don't know. Honestly, I couldn't say. I don't know enough about astrophysics.
That's the centrifugal force. You know, you can't get around centrifugal force. You know. So centrifugal forces is probably what's creating the waves and creating the mountain movements and all that outwards. Maybe that's what's creating the growth of the planet, the outward growth.
I think a lot of it has to do with that vortex motion for sure. You know,
it's definitely spinning, even if it's flat or round. If it's not spinning fast, it's spinning in one or the direction or the other. Or it could be going in both directions. You know, it could be going back and forth. You know, like a clock or like a pendulum arm. There's no telling. I mean, that pendulum back and forth could take. You know, it could take just a few thousand years, and we wouldn't know it. We wouldn't be able to notice it, or even barely even record it. It would get lost in our archives so easily. If it happened,
that's interesting.
If that pendulum swing happened every couple hundred years, it would most likely be affirmative by now in our archives.
Lost in time.
Yeah, the Earth spins clockwise for 300 years, and then it reverses 300 years. You know, we would know that for sure if that was the rate at which it changed. But what if the rate at which it changes its motion is, 10,000 years or 1,000,000 years? Forget about it. You're never going to know the cycle, the true cycle, not by waiting for a change that takes that long to go the other direction. And there's plenty of cycles like that out there. There's planets that probably orbit, one time every 1,000,000 years, and then they turn the other way for another 1,000,000 years. Hard to fathom, but when you think about the overall mass and the amount of planets that are out there, that has to be one of the cases.
The communications officer to feed this information to Errol. The communications officer immediately complied with the request. Based on the information stored in the files of the domain, Errol was able to give me a brief overview of our history lesson. This is what Errol told me that the domain had observed about the history of Earth. She told me that the domain expeditionary force first entered into the Milky Way galaxy very recently, only about 10,000 years ago. The first action was to conquer the home planets of the Old Empire. This is not the official name, but a nickname given to the conquered civilization by the domain forces that served as the seat of central government for this galaxy and other adjoining regions of space. These planets are located in the stars systems in the tail of the Big Dipper constellation. She did not mention which stars exactly. About 1,500 years later, the domain began the installation bases for their own forces along the path of invasion, which leads towards the center of the galaxy and beyond. About 8,200 years ago, the domain forces set up a base on Earth in the Himalaya Mountains near the border of modern Pakistan and Afghanistan. This was a base for the battalion of the Domain Expeditionary Force, which included about 3,000 members. They set up a base under or inside the top of the mountain. The mountaintop was drilled into and made hollow to create an area large enough to house the ships and personnel of that force. An electronic illusion of the mountaintop was created to hide the base by projecting a false image from inside the mountain against a force screen. The ships could then enter and exit through the force screen, yet remain unseen by Homo sapiens. Shortly after they settled there, the base was surprised by an attack from a remnant of the military forces of the old empire. Unbeknownst to the domain, a hidden underground base on Mars, operated by the old empire, had existed for a very long time. The domain base was wiped out by a military attack from the Mars base, and the ISBs of the Domain Expeditionary Force were captured. You can imagine that the domain was very upset about losing such a large force of officers and crew, so they sent other crews to Earth to look for them. Those crews were also attacked. The captured ISBs from the domain forces were handled in the same fashion as all other ISBs who have been sent to Earth. They were each given amnesia, had their memories replaced with false pictures and hypnotic commands, and sent to Earth to inhabit biological bodies.
See, that really screams origins of Scientology right there, and it's kind of like disturbing to me, and it's distracting me, to be honest.
You see when he said about the hole in the top of the mountain to they carved out the hole and projected a light in there to create an image to, you know, I guess disguise their location or something, or distract someone from finding them or something.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's how you make a hologram. You create a hole and you project light into the hole, and it bounces up into the sky and creates a hologram. Whatever's at the bottom of the hole. If the bottom of the hole is reflective and it's concave shaped, it reflects whatever's in the center, and it's a hologram. It requires no power, just light.
And that human beings are not responsible. You are taught that only God can create universes, so the responsibility for every action is assigned to another ISBE or God, never oneself. No human being ever assumes personal responsibility for the fact that they themselves, individually and collectively, are gods. This fact alone is the source of entrapment for every ISBE. Roy, personal implication of the U.S. As an officer, pilot, and engineer of the domain, it is my duty to protect the greater good of the domain and its possessions. However, we cannot defend ourselves against forces of which we are not aware. The isolation of Earth from the rest of civilization prevents me from discussing many subjects with you at this time. Security and protocol prevent me from revealing any but the broadest general statements about the plans and activities of the domain. However, I can give you some information that you might find useful. I must return to my assigned duties on the space station now. I have provided as much help as I feel ethically able to offer, given the requirements and constraints of my duties as an officer, pilot, and engineer of the domain forces. Therefore, I will depart as an ISBE from Earth within the next 24 hours. Editor's note: the following several paragraphs appear to be personal comments made by Matilda to the stenographer regarding her interview with Errol. What this means is that Errol will leave her doll with us, as her craft is damaged beyond repair. We can examine, dissect, and study the body at our leisure.
So I guess doll in this context refers to the body, the flesh, and they are again spiritual beings supposedly in this interview. Not quite sold on it yet, but we're going to continue it. It's very fascinating.
She does not have any further use for it, nor does she have any personal feelings or attachments to it, as others are readily available for her to use. Errol does not recommend that there are any technology in the body that Earth scientists will find useful, however. The technology of the body is simple, yet vastly beyond the reckoning of our current ability to analyze or reverse engineer any facet of it. The body is neither biological or mechanical, but a unique fabrication of materials and ancient technologies not found on any Earth-type planet. As Errol mentioned previously, a very rigid and distinctive hierarchy of social, economic, and cultural classes exists throughout the domain, which has remained unvaried and inviolate for many millennia. The body type and function assigned to an ISB officer vary specifically according to the rank, class, longevity, training level, command level, service record, and meritorious citations earned by each individual ISB, as with any other military insignia. The body used by Errol is specifically designed for an officer, pilot, and engineer of her rank and class. The bodies of her companions, which were destroyed in the crash, were not the same rank or class, but of a junior rank. Therefore, the appearance, features, composition, and functionality of those bodies were specialized and limited to the requirements of their duties. The junior officers whose bodies were damaged in the crash have left their bodies and returned to their duties in the space station. The damage suffered by their bodies was due primarily to the fact that they were officers of lower rank. They used bodies which were partially biological and therefore far less durable and resilient than hers. Editor's note, at this point the transcript appears to resume with statements made by Errol. Although the domain will not hesitate to destroy any active vestiges of the old Empire operations wherever they are discovered, this is not our primary mission in this galaxy. I'm sure that the old Empire mind control mechanisms can be deactivated and destroyed eventually. However, it is not possible to estimate how long this may take, as we do not understand the extent of this operation at this time. We do know that the old Empire force screen is vast enough to cover this end of the galaxy at least. We also know from experience that each force generator and trapping device is very difficult to detect, locate, and destroy. Also, it is not the current mission of the Domain Expeditionary Force to commit resources to this endeavor.
Go.
The eventual destruction of these devices...
Go.
Do you have something to say, Mike?
No, I dropped something on the floor that I don't want the dog to eat.
Oh, I understand.
may make it possible for your memory to be restored simply by virtue of not having it erased after each lifetime. Fortunately, the memory of an ISB cannot be permanently erased. There are many other active space civilizations who maintain various nefarious operations in this area, not the least of which is dumping unwanted ISBs on Earth. None of these craft are hostile or in violent opposition to the domain forces. They know better than to challenge us. For the most part, the domain ignores Earth and its inhabitants, except to ensure that the resources of the planet itself are not permanently spoiled. This sector of the galaxy was annexed by the domain and is the possession of the domain to do with or dispose of it as deems best. The moon of Earth and the asteroid belt have become a permanent base of operations for the domain forces. Needless to say, any attempt by humans or others to interfere in the activities of the domain in this solar system, even if it were possible, which it definitely is not, will be terminated swiftly. This is not a serious concern, as I mentioned earlier, since Homo sapiens cannot operate in open space. Of course, we will continue with the next steps of the domain expansion plan, which has remained on schedule for billions of years. Over the next 5,000 years, there will be increasing traffic and activity of the domain forces as we progress toward the center of this galaxy and beyond to spread our civilization through the universe. If humanity is to survive, it must cooperate to find effective solutions to the difficult conditions of your existence on Earth. Humanity must rise above its human form and discover where they are and that they are ISBs and who they really are as ISBs in order to transcend the notion that they are merely biological bodies. Once these realizations have been made, it may be possible to escape your current imprisonment. Otherwise, there will be no future for the ISBs on Earth. Although there are no active battles or wars being waged between the domain and the old empire, there still exists the covert actions of the old empire taken against Earth through their thought control operation. When one knows that these activities exist, the effects can be observed clearly. The most obvious examples of these actions against the human race can be seen as incidents of sudden, inexplicable behavior. A very recent instance of this occurred in the United States military just before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Just 3 days before the attack, someone in authority ordered all the ships in Pearl Harbor to go into port and secure for inspection. The ships were ordered to take all the ammunition out of their magazines and store it below. On the afternoon before the attack, All of the admirals and generals were attending parties, even though 2 Japanese aircraft carriers were discovered standing right off Pearl Harbor. The obvious action to take would have been to contact Pearl Harbor by telephone to warn them of the danger of a fight starting and to put the ammunition back and order the ships to get out of port into the open sea. About 6 hours before the Japanese attack began, a U.S. Navy ship sank a small Japanese submarine right outside the harbor. Instead of contacting Pearl Harbor by telephone to report the incident, a warning message was put into top secret code, which took about 2 hours to encode. Then it took another 2 hours to decode. The word of warning to Pearl Harbor did not arrive until 10 a.m. Pearl Harbor time, Sunday, 2 hours after the Japanese attack destroyed the U.S. fleet. How do things like this happen? If the men who were responsible for these obviously disastrous errors were stood up and asked bluntly to justify their actions and intentions, we'd find out that they were quite sincere in their jobs. Ordinarily, they do the very best they can do for people and nations. However, all of a sudden, from some completely unknown and undetectable source enters these wild, unexplainable situations that just can't exist. The old empire thought control operation is run by a small group of old baboons with very small minds. They are playing insidious games with no purpose and no goal other than to control and destroy ISBs who could otherwise manage themselves perfectly well if left alone. These types of artificially created incidents are being forced upon the human race by the operations of the mind-controlled prison system. The prison guards will always promote and support oppressive and totalitarian activities of ISBs on Earth. Why not keep the inmates fighting between themselves? Why not empower madmen to run the governments of Earth? The men who run the criminal governments of Earth mirror the commands given them by covert thought controllers of the old empire. The human race will continue to shadowbox with this for a long time, as long as it remains the human race.
This actually reminds me a lot. Mike, have you ever seen the movie They Live?
Oh yeah, 5 or 10 times.
Yeah, such a great movie. But that reminds me of that movie.
Saw it when it was on cable back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Where there's this unrelenting secret hidden force that's guiding
I saw a video yesterday.
Constricting humanity.
Ben, I saw a video yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
On this That Is Impossible channel. His name is James. He's got like a lot of subscribers. But anyway, he has a video on there that somebody gave him. I think it was in Ukraine. There's a UFO over the building, right? But he's filming through a piece of glass that enables him to see the UFO there.
Mm-hmm.
You move the glass and it's gone. You can't see it. It's on video too. He does it with the phone. So the
there was
infrared. You can't see infrared.
There was a video, and I wish I could find it. I'll try to find it, and I just it was sent to me by a friend. Right, he filmed a UFO outside his window. I forget, somewhere in Michigan, and I zoomed in on the video and I slowed it down, on YouTube. And I slowed it down to the slowest, and you could see it's like a gyroscopic motion. It's really interesting. There's like a ring inside of a ring.
Oh, I saw that one. Right. What, your friend got that on camera?
Well, it might be another one.
There's one going on the internet like that too. Just like you described, yes. And it's on the same channel I just told you about.
I only saw it though when I slowed it down to the slowest setting on YouTube, and I had to kind of zoom in a little bit, but yeah, you could see it. It's crazy. That's interesting that somebody else caught one, or if it's not the same video, if somebody else caught one,
Until then, the ISBs on Earth will continue to live a series of consecutive lives over and over and over. The same ISB who lived during the rise and fall of civilizations in India, China, Mesopotamia, Greece, and Rome are inhabiting bodies in the present time in America, France, Russia, Africa, and around the world. In between each lifetime, an ISB is sent back again to begin all over, as though the new life was the only life they had ever lived.
Like in the Bible, a wheel within a wheel.
They begin anew in pain, in misery, and mystery. Some ISBs have been transported to Earth more recently than others. Some ISBs have been on Earth only a few hundred years, so they have no personal experience with the earlier civilizations of Earth. They have no experiences of having lived on Earth, so could not remember a previous existence here, even if their memory was restored. They might, however, remember lives they lived elsewhere, on other planets, and in other times. Others have been here since the first days of Lemuria. In any case, the ISBs of Earth are here forever until they can break the amnesia cycle, conquer the electronic traps set up by their captors, and free themselves.
So reincarnation is an interesting topic because, we have stories of, children recalling what they claim to be past lives in extreme detail and having access to information that they couldn't otherwise have access to. It's incredible. So it really makes you wonder.
Bring up that video in the private chat. Go to 10 minutes.
Oh.
And it's in the 10-minute mark. It's
Okay.
incredible.
Gotcha.
I've seen a
Let's
lot of
check
UFO
this out.
footage. This one here is the clearest footage I've ever seen. It's up close too.
Oh,
Daytime.
I got the dog here. 1 second. $10 minutes.
You want to subscribe to his channel. He gets all kinds of awesome footage.
People are saying that
Mute it because you don't want to get, just mute it.
I think I gotta take the dog out in a second.
Yeah, Chihuahua.
There it is a Jack Russell in Chihuahua.
Oh, Jack Russell. Crazy.
Chihuahua mix. Yeah.
That explains your attitude, Ben.
It's not my dog. It's my mom's dog. We're watching them.
Jack Russells are amazingly fast.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do like Jack Russells. I would probably get one if I could. They're very smart, but they require a lot of energy or a lot of exercise. They have a lot of energy. This dog's pretty chill. Uno's pretty chill.
They're acrobats.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's insane.
See the glass? He put the glass up. You can only see it when he has the glass up. A piece of glass. What kind of glass is that? Just a piece of glass. You kidding me? He's looking at it through the glass. When he moves the glass away, it's gone.
That's
See?
kind of sus. What?
You see that?
Maybe a video effect? A VFX?
No, but he keeps going. I mean, he's doing a lot of editing here. I'll tell you that much.
Huh. I'm gonna pause this real quick because I got to take the dog out.
All right.
Are you able to present? If you have anything to present, you could present something.
I'm rendering my CPU's 100%.
Let's put the audio thing back up, and I'm gonna take the dog out real quick.
Because the domain has 3,000 of their own ISBs in captivity on Earth also, they have an interest in solving this problem. This problem has never been encountered or effectively solved before in the universe as far as they know. They will continue their efforts to free those ISBs from Earth where and when it is possible, but it will require time to develop an unprecedented technology and the diligence to do so. Editor's note, the following statement is a comment by Matilda. I think that it is Errol's sincere desire as one ISB to another that the rest of our eternity will be as pleasant as possible. Roswell, Alien Interview, Chapter 14. Errol reviews the interview transcripts. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, personal note. Shortly after I finished recounting the previous interview with Errol to the stenographer, I was summoned urgently to the office of the commanding officer of the base. I was escorted by 4 heavily armed military policemen. When I arrived, I was asked to be seated in a very large makeshift office that had been arranged with a conference table and chairs. In the office were several dignitaries I had seen at various times in the gallery. I recognized a few of them because they were famous men. I was introduced to these men, which included Army Air Force Secretary Symington, General Nathan Twining, General Jimmy Doolittle, General Vandenberg, and General Northstott. To my surprise, Charles Lindbergh was also in the office. Secretary Symington explained to me that Mr. Lindbergh was there as a consultant to the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Air Force. There were several other men present in the room who were not introduced. I assume these men were personal aides to the officers or agents of some intelligence service. All of this sudden attention, not only from the secretary and generals, but from world-famous people as Mr. Lindbergh and Mr. Doolittle, made me realize how critically important my role as an interpreter for Errol was, as seen through the eyes of others. Until this time, I was not really aware of this except in a peripheral sense. I suppose this was because I was so absorbed in details of the extraordinary situation. Suddenly, I began to grasp the magnitude of my role. I think that the presence of these men in that meeting was intended in part to impress me with this fact. The secretary instructed me not to be nervous. He said that I was not in any trouble. He asked me if I thought the alien would be willing to answer a list of questions they had prepared. He explained that they were very eager to discover many more details about Errol, the flying disc, the domain, and many other subjects that Errol had disclosed in the interview transcripts. Of course, they were mainly interested in questions relating to the military security and the construction of the flying disc. I told them that I was very sure that Errol had not changed her mind about answering questions, as nothing had changed that would cause her to trust the intentions of the men in the gallery. I repeated that Errol had communicated everything that she was willing and at liberty to discuss already. In spite of this, they insisted that I would ask Errol again if she would answer questions, and the answer was still no. I was to ask her if she would be willing to read the written copies of the transcripts of my interview translations. They wanted to know if Errol would verify that my understanding and translation of our interviews was correct. Since Errol could not read English very fluently, the secretary asked if they could be allowed to observe for themselves while Errol read the transcripts and verify that they were correct in writing. They wanted her to write a copy of the transcripts, whether the translation were correct or not, and make a note of anything that was not accurate in the transcripts. Of course, I had no choice but to obey orders, and I did exactly what the secretary requested. I was given a copy of the transcripts with a signature page, which I was to show to Errol. After Errol completed her review, I was also directed to request that Errol sign the cover page, attesting that all the translations in the transcripts were correct as amended by her. About an hour later, I entered the interview room as instructed with copies of the transcripts and signature page to deliver to Errol as the members of the gallery, including the generals, and Mr. Lindbergh also, I presume, and others watched through the glass of the gallery room. I went to my usual seat, sitting 4 or 5 feet across from Errol. I presented the envelope of transcripts to Errol and passed on the instructions I had received from the secretary telepathically. Errol looked at me and looked at the envelope without accepting it. Errol said, "If you have read them and they are accurate in your own estimation, there is no need for me to review them also. The translations are correct. You can tell your commander that you have faithfully conveyed a record of our communication." I assured Errol that I had read them, and they were exact recordings of everything I told the transcription typist. "Will you sign the page then?" I asked. "No, I will not," said Errol. "May I ask you why not?" I said. I was a little confused as to why she wasn't willing to do such a simple thing. If your commander does not trust his own staff to make an honest and accurate report to him, what confidence will my signature on the page give him? Why will he trust an ink mark on a page made by an officer of the domain if he does not trust his own loyal staff? I didn't quite know what to say to that. I couldn't argue with Errol's logic, and I couldn't force her to sign the document either. I sat in my chair for a minute, wondering what to do next. I thanked Errol and told her I needed to go ask my superiors for further instructions. I placed the envelope of the transcripts in the inside breast pocket of my uniform jacket, and I began to rise from my chair. At that moment, the door from the gallery room slammed open. 5 heavily armed military police rushed into the room. A man in a white laboratory coat followed closely behind them. He pushed a small cart that carried a box-shaped machine with a lot of dials on the face of it. Before I could act, 2 of the MPs grabbed Errol and held her firmly down on the oversized chair she had been sitting on since the first day of our interviews together. The other 2 MPs grabbed my shoulders and pushed me back down on my chair and held me there. The other MP stood directly in front of Errol, pointing a rifle directly at her, no more than 6 inches from her head. The man in the lab coat quickly wheeled the cart behind Errol's chair. He deftly placed a circular headband over Errol's head and turned back to the machine on the cart.
All right, I'm back. I'm gonna switch back to this, and I don't know. I'm thinking about ending the stream in a few minutes. I don't know about this video.
You see that hologram?
You said what?
Did you see that hologram
Where?
in the private chat? The last link.
Let me see.
Oh wait, no.
Or is that the first one? Oh yeah, this. Hold on, let me bring it up.
The one before the UFO. The one.
Yeah, let me bring it up. I think this might be the last.
It's a toy, so you can get it on Amazon.
Oh yeah. I was actually thinking about getting one.
I have 2 of them.
Anyway, on to the next item.
They really do work. It looks real.
And boy, you just barely.
It's amazing how a reflective disc, they call it a miroscope.
That's so crazy. I love it. It's so cool.
It's using mirror technology to create a hologram. There's no
Yeah,
power here.
it's such a cool optical illusion, and you have to wonder. There's got to be some way to apply this technology, for practical applications. You know what I mean?
You think the moon looks like that?
I don't know.
Moon, sure. I mean, that looks like a real whatever that is down there.
Let me tell you, Mike, if the moon was a hologram, we would have no effing idea. If the moon is hollow, we have no effing idea. All we know is what NASA tells us until we go there ourselves,
Well, wait, hold on. Here's an idea. Admiral Byrd. You know who that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy who went to the North Pole, said he found a hole in the Earth.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What does this miroscope have? A hole. You see the hole on the top there?
Yeah, you were talking about that. That is an interesting theory you were talking about.
And what do you need for it to work? You need a light source above the hole, reflecting down into the hole. And what does the sun do over that hole? If Admiral Byrd found a hole, the sun is over that hole.
But that's a flawless hologram.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
no
you would
crap.
be able, if you even if you saw that in real life, if you didn't know it was a device under there, it was just built into a table, and you saw it from the specific angle that needs, like you would not know.
I wanted you to see this because I don't know. How old are you again?
That's a little too big for it. That's a bad one because that kind of cuts it off and destroys the illusion.
Well, doesn't the moon do that sometimes? It has like a
this
part
is
of it's cut
look
off.
at this.
You ever
Yeah,
notice that
but
with
look
the
at
moon?
this. Look at the definition. And the color, it's all there. All the detail is there. Because it's reflecting all the light.
Right.
It's insane.
It's insane,
I love these toys. They're amazing.
You ever heard of a Fresnel lens?
I'm back.
Yes. So I actually used a Fresnel lens when I was younger to build
started,
a
Lulu?
projector.
Nope. The car is the battery is dead. They
the battery. Well, that's not so
They're
bad.
gonna try to. Yeah.
That's the least problem you could have. The alternator is more expensive than the battery.
I'm hoping it's the battery. But
Well,
if it's not
I
the
can
battery,
tell you if you
then
get
I
another
don't-
battery, you can check the alternator by starting the car again and take one terminal off the battery. If it keeps running, the alternator's good.
Did you like talking as if I know what to do with this stuff? Like, I have no idea. The best that I could do is probably take it to somebody, like a mechanic. But then,
Yeah. The
I know how
batteries,
to
they
jump
need water
start
every
it,
like
but I
3
don't.
years.
I know how to change a tire, but more than that, no. I kind of stopped there.
Yeah, I don't know much about car mechanics myself.
No. Well, the car is 9 years old too. It's not a new car. It's an old Honda Odyssey, but I'm the only owner of it. Are we streaming this anywhere live, or is this just here?
I'm on Rumble. Bernie's on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And
Great. Like the whole world knows that my car is broken.
Hey, we've all been there. You know, at my first day to work
look,
at my.
Star. Look.
Oh.
Oh, you missed it. You missed it. A shooting star. Oh, that
Really?
was cool.
Yeah, I don't think the camera picked it up.
It's okay.
Yeah, my
no.
first day to work, I
have to
blew a
turn off the lights.
tire.
There's too many
You
lights.
know, so it happens.
Yeah, I've got 5 kids in the house, no car. Yeah, all peachy. You know, I
You
think
got to
it's
Uber it to the auto store, buy a new battery.
no. I've got some. They might be bringing me a car tonight, a 4Runner, like a replacement.
Well, that's
So
good.
I'm not without a car. That's the perks when you have a friend that has a car dealership. You can call any minute and say, "Hey, I need a car." ASAP.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
So we were just watching this video on this cool hologram toy.
All right, now I can concentrate back with you guys. All right, let's watch the video. Go play it, Ben.
3 things in the world that are must-have is a car, and a car.
Huh?
Oh, let me go back to
I
the
said there's
chat.
3 things in the world that one must have is a car, and a car.
Yeah, I
Can't
had
go
2
without
whiskey
wheels.
shots just to cope with what's happening.
You know,
I've got a
I
bike.
remember when I was a
It's
kid, I
at
used to
work,
take the bus everywhere.
Only rode on the bus once in my life, but for fun because I didn't know what it was to ride. Like I didn't feel like what it, the bus was like. So I rode it just to see what it was.
Well, if you live in the city, their buses could take you everywhere you need to go, and anywhere.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna ride the bus. I'm gonna. Yeah.
The
No,
metropolitan
in my area,
areas.
there's no bus. Yeah, in my area, there's no buses.
Oh,
I
you're
live in.
rural. Yeah, you definitely need a car.
I definitely need a car.
I like to have a
when
backup
bad things
scooter,
happen in life, moral of the story is how you react to them. That's the value in the lesson. Not, so I'm smiling. Yeah, I mean, it's still Saturday night. I still have, it's all good. I'm still grateful. Even if I don't have a car, I'm still grateful.
It's just a battery, Lulu. You're going to get your car going.
I don't think I should be calling a psychiatrist for that. I'm kidding.
No. In America, it's one of the biggest, availabilities is a car. And we're fundamental on the wheels.
Yeah.
In Bulgaria, I was driving a Volkswagen. I had a flat, and you know how they fixed my flat? They don't have new tires. they take pieces of old tires, cut squares out of them, and sew them into your tire, and then melt it.
See, the only
Dude,
thing
my
I'm
parents
finding
were in
with
Bulgaria 2 weeks ago.
It's like Afghanistan.
My parents went to Bulgaria 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
They thought the nature was beautiful, but what they didn't like was the food.
Too meaty.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
spicy.
People are nice, everything, but everything is like really, really fatty. Like all the food is so fatty.
Yeah, they eat a lot of meat.
Yeah. And my parents don't. Yeah, they don't eat like pork products. And so for them, it was really difficult because in Bulgaria they use a lot. Exactly, they use a lot of pork products in their food.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a hard time, for the food wise, but everything else was good. They enjoyed, they spent 2 weeks there.
Did they have baklava?
Baklava's not a Bulgarian food, dude. But
No, but
baklava
it's
is like a
very, it's
Middle
all over
Eastern.
the place in Bulgaria. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah, you guys stole it from the Middle East.
So Refried said, one night after having some drinks with Joe Allen, I asked him about aliens.
It's Middle
His
Eastern,
response was almost verbatim what Von Braun
Let's talk about
allegedly said
aliens.
about being a hoax.
Nothing is better than baklava.
Oh, I love baklava.
You know what?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going
the
to show
king
you
of,
what's better.
of desserts.
No, I'm going to show you what's better than baklava. There's something called mabrume, and that's way better than baklava. 10 times
Oh yeah,
better than
Heaven's
baklava.
Gate. Heaven's Gate website's still up, isn't it?
Okay, here, I'll show you what it's better than baklava. Okay, this thing, hold on. This thing's better than baklava. Okay, look at this.
Where do you find that?
I don't know. My parents brought it from overseas.
Oh, they
Okay.
made it.
Okay, look at this thing. There's pistachios in the center, and I don't know what's encasing it, but it's one of the best sweets that you'll ever have in your life.
Pistachios.
Yeah, I like. You see how much is missing out of the box? Yeah, I ate it by
Because
myself.
you ate it all. Yeah, I know how good that stuff is. It's very good. The best. It's the best. I don't know the names of all the sweets, but they're incredible. It takes a lot of time to make them too. All the layers of the thin bread they use.
Pistachio pudding. That's interesting. I never had that.
Yeah. Like in France, there's the bakers, you know, they make a lot of different sweets, but they don't have the time to mess with baklava. It's just a lot of work. But they do make a little bit of it. It always sells for more than everything else, though.
Right.
Because it's the best. I mean, if you ever tried eating sweets and picking the best sweet to eat, it's the one that's got the walnuts and the honey and the sugar and the thin slice of bread. I don't know if it's bread, what they call that thin stuff, but they make pastries
This is
out
really
of it.
good. It's like you can't have just one. It's like chips, you know?
It's like bread paper bread.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. I don't eat it because I'll get a liver failure. The sugar's too much. I can't handle the sugar. Diabetes, I guess.
You have diabetes?
I think so. If I eat too much sugar, I start
You have
getting dizzy.
diabetes?
If I eat too much sugar,
No,
I get
man, there's no-
dizzy.
Well, yeah, anybody that eats sugar, they're going to test positive for diabetes. But on like if you wake up in the morning and you go do a blood work on it, you're not going to have diabetes. Your blood work should
It's common
your
after a
sugar
certain
level should
age.
be at 100, 110. That's still normal. But if
Steak
you're
sounds
going
good right now.
huh?
Oh, nothing. I was just reading one of the chats. Said I'm craving steak.
They have like 3 or 4 forms of diabetes, isn't there? Like 2 or 3.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ones.
It's all liver related. It's just your insulin production rate. And yeah, don't want to get flagged.
That's not sugar. That's
Yeah,
fentanyl.
don't want to get flagged.
Mr. Mission tried to pop on.
That is sugar. That's pure sugar. That's pure caramelized sugar.
It's worth eating though. It's that
Oh
good.
my god, it is.
It's the only thing I'll say. I will go out of my way to. I'll quit soda for a week just to have as much of that as I can eat. I'll quit all kinds of bread and other sugars just to have a big piece of
Baklava?
Yeah,
You know I know how to make that. That's like one of the easiest things to make.
it's not easy to make. It
Oh
takes
my
like
god, it's so easy.
at least an hour.
No, yeah, I could probably make it in 15 minutes max.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, literally, it's like
You're supposed to bake it, right?
It's 2 ingredients, no, 3 ingredients. You get the wafer, the dough like sheets, pistachios, and sugar. It's 3
That's
ingredients.
it?
That's it. It's 3 ingredients.
And then you bake it, right?
Yep, that's all it is. It's 3 ingredients. Yep.
What temperature are you baking?
I don't know, 365 to anywhere.
Really?
Just, you can start it at 365, but to cook the surface of it, maybe raise it to like 400, like for 5 minutes, no more than that.
Get it to caramelize.
And the
When
whole
you
thing's
smell that sugar caramelize, you know it's done, I guess, right?
Yep, and the color, it's got to turn golden.
Yeah. It looks like honey.
I know how to cook everything. Whatever you could imagine, I know how to cook. Yeah. Dude, I have 4 kids. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
like I've tried every little recipe that you could probably imagine,
What's their favorite? What's the favorite?
Ben, let's go back to your video.
The
cooking
hologram
but
video?
That's not the topic.
I was actually getting ready to close out the stream soon, but you guys can continue streaming. I was just gonna leave to go to bed.
What time do you have there? Your Eastern time. Right?
Yeah, 11:40 here. But Mike's streaming, and if he wants to, if you want to continue streaming, Mike, yeah, I can just close out mine
It
and
should stop when you
leave yours
start
open.
your stream. I'm just using we're sharing it through the same window here.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Well then I'll probably end the stream in a few minutes. But yeah, if you guys have anything, to discuss, open floor, whatever you want. And then I'm going to close it out maybe like 10 minutes.
So what do you guys think of it? That happened today.
You cut out. What did you say?
I was saying, what do you guys think of Apex meeting today? Did you find it informative?
I like the presenters that I seen. I didn't like that. I didn't see Gerald. That was disappointing again. I don't know what happened, but yeah, that was kind of sad that I didn't get to see Gerald's presentation. But yeah, after I heard that he wasn't going to present, I kind of just dipped, so I didn't see the rest.
I liked Mr. Eric's. I forgot his last name, but Eric's presentation. I thought that was really, 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 in depth and very informative. And there's a lot of things that it clarified in my mind on how the spectrum diffracts. The gamma ray diffraction versus how he measures the the light, if it's a gamma ray versus if it's a visible spectrum. I thought that was really interesting because it makes sense. Like, you don't want to measure the energy level in a spectrum that has 7 different outcomes versus 1. Like visible spectrum, 7 different variations. It could be just any one of them, but with the gamma rays, you have 1. So you really know the intensity of that, field versus take a guess which one of the 7 is, So I thought that was really a good presentation. I didn't like John's presentation. I feel like he's always just all over the place. Never sticks to anything, from A to Z. So, yeah, and always sidetracks the information. So that wasn't, something that but he does that all the time. Yeah, but Eric's presentation I thought was fabulous. And then there was this other dude, I forgot his name, the one that was from South America somewhere, that kept on. He wasn't, I felt like he was off a bit on his information. Yeah, but I like Curtis's information. He's got a very solid a piece of equipment there, but he never answers that question when I tell him, what if you put that little device in water? Does it move? He never answers that question. It's like,
you won't put it in
take your
water.
little motor, stick it in a tub of water, attach it to a string, tell me, is it moving? Like, because it would mimic fluid dynamics. Is it going to move? Because that's what the ether is. It has that density. And he never answers that question. Yeah, he shows it like in just an open air. But what if you put it in water? Is it going to move?
Well, you don't mean put it in water. You mean put it in a jug that keeps it dry but is floating in water. Right?
What is it?
You don't mean submerge it in water. You mean put it in a boat so it floats on water and then run it.
Maybe, but we never discuss things in fluids. We always discuss things in space or in vacuum of space. But fluids really do mimic the density of space, at least parts of it. So a lot of experiments should be in water, or above water. Still, that's just a surface layer. You've got wind effect, but inside of water, that
we can see how the currents interact with one another. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I don't think he wants. Doesn't want to get his device all wet with water. It's
but it's already it's already encased in something that's water resistant.
Waterproof.
I don't know, but I think it should be tested out in water.
He could put it on a floating device and vacuum seal that, and then submerge that in water.
Okay, but I want to see if the thrust in that little machine moves in water. Oh.
I like the Michelson-Morley experiment. That was my favorite because that was like, wow, like that was something that we could see that was kind of obvious.
Yeah, the one with the lead shielding.
That was the one where they had the laser spinning, and they had the mirrors, and placed in specific positions. Yeah. And then the traditional Michelson-Morley, they showed the traditional experiment how it was horizontal, and then they flipped it vertical. And it actually produced a interference pattern that was moving and shifting, and it was like, wow, that's exactly what they were looking for, and they didn't find. And it was such a simple fix, and I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh,
that was the rotating one.
It didn't make sense how those lights were moving with the, they were moving when the disc was rotating. The lights were not supposed to move.
The interference pattern, yeah.
But they did.
They shifted.
Because the outside light was getting in and interfering, I guess. I don't know.
There's some kind of differential between the light speed, I guess. It's something to do with the interaction between the ether or the drift. I'm not quite sure I fully understand it. I still have to do some research on it, but it was pretty cool to see. And he kind of broke it down in a way that we could understand, like, this was the traditional experiment, and this is what they did wrong, and this is what we did to fix it. And you can see, like, this is what they were looking for, and this is what we found. Before I close it out, I wanted to say that Tim did mention before that he wanted to have me on APEC to present my coil system, the Roden coil system. Unfortunately, I just blew the stereo amp receiver I got, so I'm gonna have to replace that.
Oh no, you just got that.
Yeah, I took it apart and I tested the fuse. The fuse is fine. The capacitors look fine. It didn't smell or burn or anything.
But yeah, no. It's a $10 pulse width modulator.
Yes, I'm
tune
gonna
it
order
or
both
not.
those parts on Amazon, and then we're gonna attach it to the new the system to
Don't
prevent
buy
that
another
from happening.
stereo. Just hook it up to a 12-volt battery.
Oh, I could do
Go
you better.
return
I
it.
got the
You just
warranty.
better go return it.
Yeah, I got the warranty.
Yeah. Tell them like
Mm.
your thing sucks. Give me a new
Yeah,
one.
no, it's a very cheap one. So, but if we can add that component, it'll prevent that from happening. It won't have all that extra energy going back, because you know what happened when I blew it? I actually got the neodymium sphere to spin without having to give it the kickstart, without having to spin it myself. And I did that by increasing
I was
the
wondering why you look so depressed.
I did that by increasing the channel all the way to the right, which the coil's utilizing the right channel, the reference is the left channel, so it's not using the left channel. So I gave it that extra boost, and I slowly increased the bass, and it started going, yeah.
The bass,
but then it kind of died. Then it didn't work anymore.
I mean, you can just use a 12-volt battery. You can't blow that out. It's just a battery, but you can blow a $10 pulse width modulator. It's not a big deal. It's not like a $300 stereo,
right? Well, we'll hook that up. I'm hoping to hook that up by next weekend or the weekend after, depending on when I get the parts.
The pulse width modulator, they sent you that link, the $10 one. It does square wave. You can change, I think, some of the waveforms and the duty cycle, and you have a large bandwidth of frequencies.
Well, I'm gonna be getting you.
You can turn it with a knob.
I'm gonna be getting you on live stream with me, and we'll be building it together. How's that?
It's not gonna be.
Plus, the next APEX is a month from now. You should have enough time to.
Yeah. I should be fine. But
But yeah,
that will
take him up on that. You should.
It's 150 watt. You can handle. You can put 150 watts.
Ben, take him up on that. Like, it gives you greater exposure. Because a lot of people in those conferences aren't just fans or hobbyists, or a lot of them are people that do invest in others and grants and things like that. So I think you should.
Oh, we're getting some kind of echo.
Did you do something different?
No, I brought Mr. Mission on. How you doing?
Oh, hey, the light bends magnetic fields. The laser light bend magnetic fields. And I was going to say, if you stack your torus 9 high or 9 inside of each other, it feels like a scalar, and then you shoot an infrared laser through it.
Infrared laser.
Yes, shoot it through the coil.
Through the torus.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I should do that.
The magnetic field might bend the laser.
Yeah, no, that's a cool experiment. I'm gonna keep note of that for sure, because that's a simple one that I can do.
Is there still an echo?
No, I'm actually gonna end the stream though in a minute. But I just wanted to thank everybody, and thank you, Mr. Mission, for that. That's a very, very cool experiment that we can do. A very simple one. Bernie, I'd like to thank him. I don't know if he's here right now. Mike, thank you. And Lulu, I really appreciate everybody. And thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome. You really make all of this fun and interesting. And your suggestions have been... Oh, we're getting an echo. But your suggestions today have been awesome. And we'll continue this in a future stream. But thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you, Ben.
Hey, Lulu.
Bye.
Thanks, Mr. Mission.
Thank you. Good night, guys.
Night.